today's video, we're going to be using these IOD transfers, and it comes with all 4 sheets. They're really beautiful, and we're going to be using them for all the projects today. If you want to check out these transfers, I'll leave a link to the store that I use down in my description box. But for this one, we're going to take this cutting board. I'm pretty sure I got this at Target's Dollar Spot a while ago, but we're going to take just this bigger red flower, trace our cutting board on the opposite side, and then we're going to cut it out. Now, I am going to be cutting around that, so there are some pieces left. One trick with these, you can just rub them like on other things too, so you don't want to throw the little pieces away. You want to hold on to them even though we're only using a portion of this big rub-on. So I'm just using my scraper for vinyl, and I'm just going over the top of that and then removing it, and I decided to go add a lace bow at the top of our cutting board because we won't be using this for food purposes. It will just be for decorative purposes. So I just took several different types of ribbon. These are all lace ribbons, and I tied them at the top and then made a little bow. I'm going to hot glue that there in the middle, and then that is it for this project. Let me know what you think about this one. So for this project, we're going to take a wooden bunny that I already had and cover it with some white folk art chalk paint. I also covered a sign I had on hand with some white folk art chalk paint, and then we're just going to trace around the bunny onto the stencil. We're on the back side of our, it's not a stencil, our rub-on. I went ahead and cut it out, and then we're just going to lay it on top of the bunny. Using our scraper, we are going to just apply really hard pressure to make sure that it all gets onto our project. And that is it for this one. It is my favorite of the day. Let me know what you guys think.
You said, let me tell you everything I've seen, the friends I've made, and then you tell me how you've been. Look a little closer, it's been quite some time. You gotta let me know.
For this project, we're using a little toolbox that I also already had on hand. I'd used it several years ago in a different project. I also picked this up from the Target Dollar Spot, so sometimes they revisit these items, so always be on the lookout for those. But any kind of little holder, like wooden holder, would work for this project. So I'm just going to use my scraper, and I'm applying some of the leftover pieces that I had around the box. I loved this because it didn't really have to be uniform or just applying like different pieces on. You can make it as distressed or not distressed as you want around there. My box was already distressed, so I didn't really do any distressing to the rub-on pieces. I just kind of left them as they were, and I think that it turns out beautiful here at the end. But once I get all the pieces onto my toolbox, I'm then going to take 2 terracotta pots. Now these terracotta pots have also already been covered with white paint and distressed much like this box. So if you are starting this project from scratch, you're just going to want to use some folk art or any really white chalk paint and then cover it with some antique Waverly wax in various areas around the pot and the wooden crate. So then once I have some leftover pieces, I just kind of align them onto the pot any way that I want. It's meant to look like it's distressed or kind of old, so for me it did not matter if they matched up with anything or it made sense like where they went because they're meant to look old. Once I get all the pieces on there that I like, I took some lavender. My favorite lavender comes from Walmart. I think that they are totally worth the money. It's like $90, it might be $1.98 for the bunch. But I used one bunch for both of these pots, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick the pots inside of our little toolbox. And that is it for this project. This was a kind of a favorite as well, but let me know what you think about this one.
If I'm out of line, there's some words that I just wanna hear you say, to put it all straight before this night turns into day, and then I'm on my way.
So for this project, we're going to be using this wooden box, and I've had this wooden box for a long time. It came from Hobby Lobby, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. Then I thought that these IOD transfers would look really cute on it, so I decided to go ahead and use it for this video. If you've never used IOD transfers before, they are really vivid and beautiful pieces. This video is not sponsored in any way. I had seen these products on Our Green Acres, and if you've never checked out her channel, I will link it in my description box. But she does some beautiful projects with these IOD transfers, and so I picked some up for myself using the same shop that she does. She shops from Ruth and Ruby, so I will leave their shop down in my description box as well. But they're just absolutely beautiful, and they are just really fun to work with. So after I get the transfers onto the box, I decide to go ahead and add some florals in here. I'm just using some leftover floral foam, and then I got my greenery from Walmart, the lamb's ear, and then the white flowers are from the Dollar Tree. So I just kind of arrange them how I like, and then here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one.
A bit naive and so eager to please. You know I played for love, but it got me on my knees. Now's the time to reap what I've sown. Your words.
This project is super simple. I had a little sign that I covered with a white chalk paint, and all I did was cut out a square of the transfer. I'm just going to lay it inside the box, and then I'm going to take my scraper and scrape it down inside. So you just want to make sure you have it lined up wherever you want. It does take a little pressure for these to come off, but like I said, they're so vivid and they're so beautiful, and I just love how this one turned out.
In every single bone. So far out at sea. There's no.
So for this project, we're going to take a home sign that I got from Hobby Lobby. I covered it with some white folk art chalk paint. This is my absolute favorite stencil to use when doing any kind of bead DIYs. I love the honeycomb look. I picked it up at Walmart. It's a Waverly stencil, I believe. If I can't find that exact stencil, I'll link one down below that is similar for you guys to pick up from Amazon. I'm using some light yellow chalk paint, and I'm just going to cover this whole sign with our beehive design. So once I get that onto the block, I cut out this super adorable saying that says, "Kind words are honey to the soul." I absolutely loved that, and I'm just going to go ahead and place it right on top of our honeycomb. Once I get that laid out, I'm going to take some ribbon that came from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to make a shabby bow, and I'm going to attach that to the top of this sign. That is it for this easy project. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, I'm going to use this wood round that I had in my stash. I got this from the Target dollar spot. It came with some stencils that are for fall. It came with like 4 different fall and Halloween stencils. I'm going to go ahead and put that aside for a later date. I'm going to cover our round with some white folk art chalk paint, and then we're going to use our same trusty old beehive stencil. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a section, and then when you're doing a large project like this with a smaller stencil, you want to line up a section of that you've already stenciled into the stencil, and then keep stenciling. That way you get the same design as you go around the whole project. This is one of the biggest things I've ever cut out with my silhouette, and you guys know I don't use it that often, so I was super excited when I cut this out. It took me a long time to weed it, but I absolutely love how it turned out, and this is simple. All we're going to do is lay it down on top of our beehive design, make sure we get it on there straight, and that is it. Let me know what you think about this one. So this project is the easiest DIY in the history of DIYs, but all I did was cut out this bee from my silhouette, and I'm laying it on this riser I picked up from the Target dollar spot. I didn't paint it or add anything else to it because I want to continue to use it as a riser, but here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one. So for this project, we're going to create a super cute floral arrangement. I took this box that was in my stash, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it with some white Bogart chalk paint. Then I cut out this super cute bee on my silhouette, and I'm going to add it to the front of our box. So since I am currently on a no spend challenge this month, which included craft supplies as well, I have definitely been crafting from my stash. If you've been following me for a little while, you know that I am not really good at using my silhouette, but I have had some fun this month learning how to use it and using some supplies in my closet. So if you are someone who is maybe trying to save money this year, or you're trying to, just use up the things that you have, I definitely recommend a no spend challenge for you guys. I have been watching tons of videos on YouTube, and I've been totally inspired by the budget community, so I will leave some of my favorites down in the description box if you're interested in checking those out. But here is our floral arrangement. I think this is so simple and sweet, and I love how it turned out. For this project, I took one of those bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree and another cutout from my silhouette. I did not add any paint to this project. I wanted it to be just the natural wood look. I added my cutout for my silhouette, and then I made a really fun shabby bow for the top of our project. This ribbon came from the Dollar Tree, and I definitely suspect they will have it again this year, but it's the honeycomb ribbon, and then the white ribbon has bees on it. Then I decided to take this chalkboard tag that also came from the Dollar Tree and add it into the middle because I thought that it gave it a really fun farmhouse look. And then I'm going to add a button right to the middle just to kind of polish this whole project off. And then here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one. This project, we're going to make another sign, and I'm telling you guys, I cannot believe all the things I had in my stash. This was a happy fall sign that I believe came from the Dollar Tree plus section. It was $3. It could have came from the Target dollar spot too. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm just going to remove the pumpkins and the words, and then I do give the inside of this box a coat of white Bogart chalk paint. So once I have that covered, I took my cutout from my silhouette, and this one's a little bit larger. It says Be Strong. I really like that. I got a set on there of Be Strong, Be Grateful, and I was really thinking about hanging like each of them up in the hallway by my kids' rooms just to give them some motivation when they go to school and things. So I might create that project later on, and if I do, I'll go ahead and share it with you guys. But I made another shabby bow using Dollar Tree ribbon, and this is a larger honeycomb ribbon, and then I used the buffalo check. I like the buffalo check in this one because it kind of went with the black and white that's going on in our picture. So then I had some totally dazzled jewels, and I went ahead and added one of them to the middle. If you want to check them out, I will have a link down in my description box. But that is it for this super fun project. Let me know what you think about this one. Today we're going to use a muffin tin from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some folk art white chalk paint, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats. It took about 2 coats. It's okay if some of the metal is still showing through. Then I took some ink by Waverly in my chibi brush, very little paint in that brush, and I'm just going to go over the kind of edges to give it a distressed look. Then I'm going to take a smaller paintbrush and these glitter bunnies that I also got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cover them with 1 coat of folk art chalk paint. It's okay if some of your color of the bunny is showing through. Then I took some Spanish moss that I had on hand. You can also pick this Spanish moss up at Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to add some hot glue into my muffin tin just to make sure that it stays in there. I'm going to take one of our bunnies, add it to one of the muffin tins with the Spanish moss, and then I also have these plastic eggs that I picked up at the Dollar Tree as well. This can be a total Dollar Tree DIY, and so that makes it super fun. I love the farmhouse look of this one. So I'm going to take some of my buffalo check ribbon, tie it off in some knots at the bottom, and we're going to hot glue that to the sides of our tin. This could be a hanging piece if you would like it to. If you want, you could have a little bit more secure than just this hot glue, but I usually put mine in an easel or stick it up on a shelf. But here it is style for you guys. I love this one. It's my favorite of the video. Let me know what you think about it.
You can't turn the tide, let the water go where it wants to go.
So for this project, we're going to use a Hurricane Vase that you can get from the Dollar Tree. We're also using some of the twine that has the wire in it that comes from the Dollar Tree. You could use nautical rope here as well. I know you've seen vases before where people have wrapped the nautical rope around the bottom and used it as a candle holder. We're not going to quite do that today. We're going to take this twine and we're going to just kind of wrap it around into a kind of design. So we're not going to cover the entire bottom here. I don't put glue on all the pieces. I just kind of go where they connect together, and I put some hot glue in those like connection spaces. I don't want the hot glue to show on our vase. Then we're going to take some pearls from the Dollar Tree. Now these are 2 different sizes. I have larger pearls, and then once I have the larger pearls like all around the vase, I'm going to go back in with some smaller pearls, and I'm going to add those into some various areas. So I want it to look like it's not symmetrical, I guess, because I don't want it to be like a total design. So I just kind of go in and fill in any kind of blank spaces that I see around the vase. This is really a pretty project. Now you can do a couple different things with it. You can use it as a candle holder, so you could put some of the white rocks that they have at Dollar Tree into it, and you could use it for a candle. I'm going to make a centerpiece here with a vase using this and kind of some Easter spring type decor that's going to go on the inside. So once I get all of my pearls on the outside, I went ahead and put these faux tulips that I got from Target Dollar Spot a couple years ago. It might have been last year. And then I'm going to add some Spanish moss along with my eggs, and then I decided to add a bunny in there as well. I think this turned out so cute. It's definitely customizable. You could put whatever you wanted in the inside, and you could also use whatever flowers you wanted. I just absolutely love these tulips, and anytime I get a chance to use them, I do. Somebody told me don't pretend. So this is another version of our previous DIY that we're going to put together, and it can also be all a Dollar Tree DIY here. I'm using a mason jar I already had on hand, but I was at the Dollar Tree the other day, and I do know that they sell mason jars, so you can pick one up. I got these little wreaths. I think these wreaths actually came from Hobby Lobby, but you could create one if you can't find the little wreaths with some twine or some jute rope as well. And then we're going to add some eggs here. We're going to add some raffia at the top, and you can get raffia at the Dollar Tree. Check out the Crafter Square area. Sometimes they sell it in little packs, and we're just going to tie that around the top. We're going to use some ribbon to make a shabby bow. I never know if I should leave like how to make the shabby bow in the video or not. Sometimes I think if you're a returning viewer of mine, I make these all the time, so you might not want to see it, but if you're a new viewer of mine, you might want to see it. So I left this one in today, but we're just going to crisscross our ribbon. I'm using some of the raffia today to tie off the middle, and then we're going to glue that into the middle of our raffia that's already there. I then decide that we need a little fun in this as well, so I'm going to take another one of those little bunnies, stick it into the middle of the jar, and that's it for this one. If you are loving Dollar Tree DIYs as much as I do, I would love it if you went in the comments and left me a little tree emoji. For this project, we're going to take a picture frame from the Dollar Tree, and when I got home with my picture frame, I realized my glass was broken, but that's okay. We don't really need the glass for this project. So if you have a picture frame at home that you just want to upcycle, that would work as well. This burlap actually came from the Dollar Tree as well. I got these big packs a couple years ago. I don't know if it was just like a thing they had extra, but sometimes they do sell these big rolls of it. So I also got this stencil from the Dollar Tree. I'm using white folk art chalk paint, and we're going to stencil all these birds onto our burlap. Once I get that done, we're going to go ahead and add it to our frame. I don't put any tape here or anything. I just add all the pieces of the frame back into the frame without the glass. Then I used some ribbon that I had on hand, just some burlap ribbon, and we're going to make a little awareness bow, tie it off in the middle, glue it at the top. This was so easy. You could definitely use any stencil. Stickers would look cute here as well, but it's absolutely adorable. I like how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think about it.
I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across.
For this project, we're going to use these hoop wreaths that they have at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the large and medium size one, and we're going to tie it up at the top. Once I get it tied at the top, I'm going to take these plastic eggs again that I've been using through the video, and I'm going to use some other twine pieces that are smaller. I tied a knot at the end, and then I'm going to hot glue that to the end of our egg. Once I get that attached to the egg, I'm going to go ahead and do that process over again another 4 times, so I have 5 eggs altogether. I'm then going to tie those eggs to the top of our wreath forms, both of the wreath rings. If you aren't following me on my other socials, I would love it if you checked me out there. I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and I would love it if you went and checked me out over there. After we get those tied on to the top of our wreath, I'm going to use a bow that I made out of some buffalo check ribbon. This is just a quick awareness bow, and I'm going to give the end some dovetails. Then I'm going to add some greenery. I went ahead and put the packaging back underneath the hoops just so that the hot glue would not fall onto my table, and then I just removed that packaging once I was done with that. But here it is for you guys. I like this kind of modern twist with just the eggs and the hoops. I think it's really cute. Let me know what you think about this one.
Part of something real.
Project, we're going to make a bunny wreath using some roses from the Dollar Tree. I picked up 3 different colors of roses that are all pretty close to the same color. They're just a little bit different shades, lighter and darker, and so I'm going to go ahead and fill in this wreath form with all the different colors. It ends up being like 1 color per section of this wreath. So I'm adding hot glue to the back, and I'm going to put it into the little opening of the wreath frame. Now, I definitely recommend having some kind of plate or something underneath as you glue around here. It got pretty messy on my plate, and you wouldn't want any of that excess glue to go onto your table or surface that you're using as you're crafting. So once I add them all in, I'm going to go back around with some more roses, and I'm going to fill in any spots. You could also use the leaves here if you wanted to do that instead of more roses. I had several leaves left over because I only used the rosebud parts. So if you wanted to do that instead, that would look super cute as well. Once I get all the roses filled in and I don't find any more extra spots, then I'm ready to kind of add a little bit of embellishment. So I'm going to add some yarn up at the top for the ears. This is the Chanel yarn from Dollar Tree, but any yarn will do here. The yarn I find from Dollar Tree is pretty thin, and so this was a tad bit time consuming because we're going to wrap it all around the ear. So I just tied the first part on with a knot, but then I found it like moving around, so instead I decided to add a little bit of hot glue at the bottom. I didn't want really any like hot glue to be showing, so I didn't put hot glue tons of hot glue on here. I just wrapped it really tight, and then I made sure to put glue in various parts. Once I have the ears all covered with my yarn, I made a quick shabby bow with just some pink ribbon I had. This was in my stash because it kind of matched the roses. Any ribbon will do, and then obviously customize it to the color of your roses if you're not using pink. I just went ahead and hot glued this to the bottom of one of our ears. Then I decided to add a rose in the middle because I just felt like the bow was missing something. You wouldn't have to add anything here. And of course, I love buttons. A button might look cute here too. But I just went ahead and added a rose there. And then that is it for this super sweet project. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
You can't turn the tide. Let the water go where it wants.
So it's been a while since I did one of the open invite challenges, and I decided to participate in the Hello Spring open invite challenge that's going on right now. It is put on by the Rusted Willow and DIY from House to Home, and their guest host this month is Shannon Crafty DIYs. Definitely go down to my description box and check out the links to these channels along with the link to the playlist, and you will get all kinds of spring inspiration when you're done watching this video. So this is an older project that I made in the past, but I decided to include it in this video because it's the Bunny Wreath frame, and this happens to be one of my most favorite projects I've ever made. So we're going to take some pieces of fabric. Now mine actually are an old sheet, but you can use any fabric here. You could use a drop cloth as well if you want to pick up something like that instead of having anything on hand. But I just cut it into strips, and then I cut it they're about 2 inches wide, and so on the wreath form here, I'm going to go in and out. So for one, I'm going to do the 2 outer rings of the wreath, and then for the next piece of fabric and knot, we're going to do the 2 inner rings. And I just go back and forth with those all the way around the circle part. For the ears, all I did was tie it on just in a loose knot and went all around the ears. This becomes a really large wreath after you get all the pieces of fabric on, but it is super cute and adorable. So once I get that all on, I have this ribbon. It came from Hobby Lobby, I believe, and I'm just going to make a quick bow. We're going to fan it out. I just used some twine and tied that in the middle, and then we're going to add that to our wreath. I absolutely love this ribbon. It definitely has a lot of shabby chic vibes to it. I don't know. I love the roses. And then we're just going to hot glue here at the top, and then here it is styled for you guys. This again is one of my favorite projects. Let me know what you think about this one.
Bury yourself beneath the stones. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good.
So for this wreath, we're going to be using those duster mop pads from the Dollar Tree. I know this isn't a new concept. I get comments every once in a while on my videos like, oh, other people have made these. I don't do anything with my crafts. I keep them or I give them away to other people. And so a lot of times when I make stuff, it's because I've never made it before or I want to give it to somebody. And in this case, I've never made one of these duster mop Easter wreaths. So I thought I would go ahead and give it a try. But you're going to take, I believe I end up using about 4 of these duster mops. So I'm just going to wrap it around the circular part of one side, and then we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to do the same thing. We're wrapping and gluing. I'm just using hot glue here. I tried to kind of overlap too because you'll see down at the bottom there's kind of a space. So you want to make sure that you overlap on like when you have the seams going together, that way you can't tell. Now if you've never used these duster mops for anything, they are super messy anytime that you have to cut them. So these two are not messy because we kept them intact as one piece of duster mop, but we're about to get messy here in this wreath part. So we're going to go ahead and take this one, we're going to cut about 3/4 of it. I wanted to go here at the top of our circle, and obviously our ears are right here, so we don't want to wrap it just around that part. What we're going to do is we're going to cut a hole down like the middle of it, and we're going to wrap it around each side of the ear and down, kind of like a flip-flop. If it was going on your like on your feet, that would be like your toe portion. So we're just going to like thread it through the top part of our ears and then fold down and glue. Then you're going to want to make sure that you glue on the sides there as well. That way it's not totally noticeable that you have a seam there. Now, when you go to hang this one, I definitely recommend like checking both sides because you want the one that doesn't have like is not as noticeable for the seams, if that makes sense. So for the top part of our ears, we're going to cut this duster mop into thirds. I clearly need new scissors here, so I paused the video, throw those scissors away, and get out my trusty Pioneer Woman scissors. So we're just going to cut it in thirds, and then we're going to fold over. I do this section, and then I fold over the top too, just as I go around, and then I just keep adding pieces of the duster mop. Now be careful here because it gets thinner once you like lose some of the stuffing of the duster mop, and so you don't want to burn yourself here. If anything, I have burnt myself so much this year, so just be careful, and especially if you have a super hot glue gun. So we're going to thread our duster mop in between our ears, and then we're going to go ahead and glue and wrap again. This is super simple, so if you're new to crafting or you might be intimidated by wreaths, this is definitely one to try because it's super easy. Did you see my glue gun? There's like so much fuzzies. And then I wore these fuzzies like the rest of the night. So I'm going to go ahead and make a shabby bow. I'm using some pink ribbon and this really fun pink and white striped ribbon. Now the solid pink ribbon is a wired ribbon. My pink and white ribbon is not. So it actually works out really well because the wired ribbon helps the other ribbon kind of stay together. Now for my shabby bows, I always use a piece of the fabric or ribbon to tie it off. That way it becomes part of the bow, and I really like the final look of that. I don't decide to cut them as dovetails at first, but then I do go back and dovetail them because there was some weird stain on my pink and white ribbon that was totally noticeable, and I didn't like that. So I just dovetailed them and off it went. So if you ever have that problem, just cut it off. So I play around with the bow here a little bit, and this is where I kind of get distracted because it's ugly. And then I decide I can't just cut one piece. So I go ahead and pause the video here in a second and then cut all the dovetails. And then as I'm doing that, guys, I decide, you know what? I actually think it looks better on the bottom. So it was a happy accident here, made me not glue my bow up at my ear. So I glue it down at the very bottom, and I absolutely think this turned out adorable down at the bottom. Let me know what you think about this one. You definitely need like a little vacuum when you're done with this project. So for this project, I decided to remove the inner piece of the frame. My frame was damaged, it was already broken in one of the sections, and it was really warped. So double check when you're getting the frames that you have one that is well made and that you can craft with, because I just felt like there wasn't a whole lot that I could do with this wreath frame as the shape it was in. So I go ahead and use my wire cutters and cut off a section of the bunny circle. I'm using one of these pre-made garlands from the Dollar Tree. I like to craft with these. Normally I just keep them as a garland, but we're going to remove the beads and we're going to be adding them to the circle part of our wreath frame. I've never made one of these beaded wreaths before, and I thought it would be cute to make it as a bunny. Now, normally when I use these pre-made bead garlands, I like to dry brush them with some white paint. It mutes the colors that they have in the beads. I didn't do that this time. I was just thinking it would be fun to have the bright colors, but the ribbon I end up adding needs those to be muted. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go back and dry brush them. But again, it's your preference. You could paint them all together. I just like to use the already painted ones because, I mean, let's be truthful, friends, it's faster. But if you don't want to do that and you want to change it or you want it to be your colors, definitely paint your beads. So I'm using some wire and I'm just going to go ahead and attach those pieces back together. Then we're going to use some ribbon and we're going to just wrap our ribbon around the ears. I'm wrapping it really, really tightly and close together so you get kind of the look of that we had going with our yarn, but it's shinier and prettier because it's a ribbon. So we're going to wrap all the way around both ears and in the middle part that we covered with our wire. I got this ribbon at Hobby Lobby. It's kind of a Pioneer Woman knockoff. I did some Pioneer Woman projects like dupes with it last year. I just love Pioneer Woman anyway, so this ribbon is definitely my style. But here comes in where I think I need to dry brush the beads because the yellow is too bright for my ribbon. But I'm going to go ahead and take another section of the ribbon, wrap it around the middle to cover our twine, and then we're going to glue it in between the bunny's ears. This project is pretty simple. I love how this turned out. It's definitely unique with lots of different textures, but let me know what you guys think about this project.
Pick up the pieces, hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across the fields.
For this project, we're going to use 2 of the metal wreath forms from Dollar Tree. We're using the circles today, and we're going to need 12 plastic eggs. Mine came from the Dollar Tree. They come 6 to a pack, so you're going to need 2 packs. We're going to lay 2 eggs in each of the sections of the wreath form. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue to keep the egg stable when I want to put the other wreath form on top. Now I tried 2 different ways here. One was to put hot glue on the wreath and then one was to put hot glue on the egg. I found that putting the hot glue on the wreath itself worked better just because you can't line up the egg very well to put the glue on, and I did have to go back and fix that blue egg. So once I get all of the eggs glued onto the wreath frame, I'm going to take some zip ties and I'm going to be zip tying them in the connection pieces. So there are 6 connection pieces on this wreath, so we're going to add 6 zip ties. And I'm zip tying it kind of close to the edge here because I don't really want it to show, so that's why I'm also using black zip ties. But all I'm going to do is secure it very tightly. I'm going to go ahead and add all 6 zip ties around the wreath and then cut them off. Once I have all the zip ties cut off, I'm going to add some Spanish moss into the sections between the eggs. So I start out doing just like the middle sections, and then I go back around and I add more Spanish moss at the top and the bottom of the eggs where I feel like it's needed. Because once you start going around the whole wreath, it starts to fill in and you can see like where you have some gaps. I thought that this might be a little like tricky, like it was going to fall through the other side of the wreath, but it doesn't, and it looks super cute. You could probably add the Spanish moss before you put the other wreath form on, but I found this to be like pretty easy. So I have this Dollar Tree sign and I decided to attach it with some zip ties. So I'm just going to put a zip tie through each of the holes at the top of the sign. You won't be able to see the holes since I used it that way to attach it. It does leave me a bit of a gap at the bottom, and so I go ahead and kind of pull that down a little bit. I decided to cover that gap up with some extra Spanish moss. So I add some of the Spanish moss in the front of our bunny's face, and then I flip the wreath over, and I'm going to add some Spanish moss to the back of our bunny's head, and then that is it for this project. It's so adorable. I could think of all kinds of ways that you could use this wreath, and if you didn't want to add the bunny or any kind of sign in the middle, you could definitely just leave it with the Spanish moss and eggs, and it's still a really fun farmhouse look. Let me know what you guys think about this project. It's definitely one of my favorites of the day. So for this project, we're going to start with some clothespins from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to be creating this shape. So to do that, we're going to take the metal piece out of our clothespin. We're going to take the wooden pieces and use the flat sides. We're going to use some hot glue and just glue them together. It makes this really fun shape that you can make into several different projects, but for today, we're going to be creating carrots. They have been covered with some brown stain, which was just brown acrylic paint and water that I painted on there. Now I'm using some burnt orange paint. this is just acrylic paint, and I'm going to go ahead and paint all of the clothespins with our burnt orange color. Then I took some white chalk paint and I'm just going to dry brush over all the carrots to give it a more farmhouse look. If you don't want to have this dark of a carrot, you could definitely do any color orange. My other orange chalk paint was all dried out and I had to throw it away, so this was the orange I had on hand. Once I get those all painted, I'm going to take this pot that also came from the Dollar Tree. I covered it with white paint and some antique Waverly wax several years ago for a previous project. I just have these all over my house for spring. It's a really fun way to like just create something that you can use over and over again. But we're going to add some floral foam into the bottom, and then we're using some Spanish moss. Mine came from Hobby Lobby, but they do sell it in the springtime at the Dollar Tree. So then I'm going to take this farmhouse ribbon, also from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut a small little piece of it, and then I'm going to be using this lime green ribbon. I believe it came from Hobby Lobby. I've had it in my stash for quite a while, but I definitely think you could find that color there. I'm going to fold it over a little bit to kind of give it a topper for my carrot. I'm just using hot glue here. Once I get it together in the farmhouse ribbon, I'm going to glue that to the green ribbon. Then we're going to take this bundle and we're going to glue it to our carrot. So I originally tried to glue it to the top of the carrot, but I didn't like how that looked, so I then end up moving it to the back of the carrot. Once I have the two pieces of ribbon on there, then I just cut down the middle to add some little pieces so they look like the tops of the carrot. I think this turned out so adorable. Once I have them all glued on and cut out, I'm going to add them to our little pot here to look like they are planted carrots, and then that is it for this project. It's super simple. It would be really cute on a tiered tray or just kind of sitting on a shelf like next to a picture frame or something. But let me know what you guys think about these.
Let me tell you everything I've seen, friends I've made, and then you tell me how you've been. Look a little closer, it's been quite some time.
For this project, we're going to start out with another terracotta pot, and we're going to cover it white. I didn't do any dry brushing to this one. Then I added some floral foam in the bottom. I'm using this bunny that I painted last video, so if you didn't see that video, it'll be linked at the end of this video. But I covered a glitter bunny from the Dollar Tree with some white chalk paint. And then I'm using this craft stick. I believe these came from Hobby Lobby during the Christmas time, but you can definitely use any piece of wood here or a dowel if you wanted to cut it down. I add some hot glue to the top of the bunny, and then I stick the dowel into our floral foam. I'm going to add some Spanish moss here at the bottom, and we're making a topiary. If you didn't see where I was going with that yet, you could use any bunny here, so if you don't have the foam bunnies, I was thinking a wooden bunny would look super cute as well. Then I took some more of that farmhouse ribbon and some purple ribbon this time, same type of ribbon I used in the carrots. You can also pick this up at Hobby Lobby. I'm making an awareness bow here, and I made it like a two-toned awareness bow. So the farmhouse ribbon is what's really going to show, and then you're going to be able to see just a little bit of the accented purple. I chose purple for this project just because the bunny is also purple. Let me know what is your favorite spring color down in the comments. Mine is usually pink, but I didn't even use any pink in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my ribbon onto the front of my pot. And then with these awareness ribbons, I always find like you want to put something in the middle or it doesn't really feel finished. So I'm using just a cream button that kind of accented the ribbon and the pot. And then that is it for this project. It's super simple, super cute. I think it would add a lot of fun touches to a tiered tray.
Put it all straight before this night turns into day, and then I'm on my way.
For this project, we're going to be using one of the Dollar Tree canvases. I'm going to cover it with some brown acrylic paint, and then I'm going to cover that with some white chalk paint. Now, I have seen these moss bunnies all the time on Pinterest, and I have always wanted to make one. I tried to trace the bunny onto our canvas and then like put the moss on the canvas, but I found that you could not tell that it was a bunny. So I took that off and I decided to try the 2.0 version here. So I had a wooden bunny. This also came from the Dollar Tree. It's It's one of those ornaments that you can get during the seasonal time. I glued all my moss on top of the bunny, and now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use some scissors and I'm going to give it a haircut. So this actually turned out really cute. I think maybe a little bit bigger of a bunny piece I would have liked on this project, but like I said, this was kind of my first attempt at one of these, but I just go ahead and give him a haircut all around the wooden pieces. Some of the moss did come off like on his ears, and so I went back and added a little bit more and then just gave it a little bit more of a haircut. Super simple. Once I get it all cut, then I'm going to go ahead and add it back to my canvas. So you can see that I have some greenery still on my canvas, and that's okay. I'm just going to glue right over it. I'm adding hot glue in my bunny shape because I had already traced it on there, and then I'm going to glue my moss covered bunny on top of that, and then that is it for this project. It's super simple, but it adds such a fun spring look. You could also do some different colors in the background.
Yes, I'm on my way. A bit naive and so eager to please. You know I played for love, but it got me on my knees.
For this project, we're going to use a cutting board sign. These are the ones that you would find in the sign department, not the kitchen department, but we covered it with some white Waverly chalk paint. I had used this in a previous project, and so I had already removed the front of the sign. Then I'm going to add some burlap down at the bottom, and I'm just going to hot glue it around the back. You could go the whole length of the back if you wanted to make it look a little bit more finished, but we're making a pocket here, so when we flip it over, we're going to hot glue down at the bottom. I did pick my burlap up at the Dollar Tree. Several years ago, I found these really large rolls of burlap, and now I've never seen them again. So let me know if you've ever found these really big rolls of burlap at your Dollar Tree. But we're going to use some buffalo check ribbon, and we're going to cover just go around the front in the middle of our burlap. Mine came from Hobby Lobby. You can get buffalo check ribbon at the Dollar Tree. Mine always seems to be sold out. Just a quick tip here though, if you find these ribbons at Hobby Lobby like on a holiday, you can often pick them up on the clearance or definitely at the sale price. I tend to buy these neutral ribbons at Christmas time because they're a super good deal there. I made a shabby bow. I didn't decide to show it here today. Sometimes I show it, sometimes I don't, but if you followed me for a while, you definitely know how I made it, and if not, it's just a bunch of ribbons, and I did add jeans because I love to craft with jeans, and I almost try to throw jeans into like everything that I make. I'm going to go ahead and add my favorite Dollar Tree greenery to the pocket part of this, and then that is it for this project. It's so cute. I absolutely love this one. Let me know what you guys think about it.
Now's the time to reap what I've sown. Your words echoing in every single bone. Underwater, so far out at sea.
Project, we're going to start out with these two wood boards from the Dollar Tree. I covered them with some white Waverly chalk paint. I picked up this roller at Hobby Lobby. It is a Mod Podge brand, and it's supposed to be for Mod Podging. So my friend Leonette at DIY Beauty on Purpose was doing a napkin video last week, and I'll link that down in my description box. But she tried a couple different hacks on like how to do Mod Podge with these napkins, and one of them was using saran wrap. And so that is what I'm going to try. I went and picked up the roller to specifically try this hack. So for our first project, we're going to use this bunny from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using one of these napkins. I cut it in half. I took the second ply of the napkin off, and then I'm just adding Mod Podge to the bottom of our bunny. Now I only want half the bunny, not the whole bunny, so that's why we're only applying it to the bottom half. So I am using Mod Podge brand Mod Podge. Mine came from Hobby Lobby, but you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it at Hobby Lobby. So we're going to put our napkin down on our project, and then we're going to take some saran wrap and we're going to lay that on top of our napkin. So I've never tried this before, and I never even had a roller, so that's why I had to go pick one up at Hobby Lobby. But I tried this out, and I'm telling you guys, this is amazing. Now I know that this is probably not new for some people, and you're probably thinking like, where have you been? But honestly, where have I been? This worked so good. I never want to do Mod Podge a different way again. So once I get that Mod Podged on, I don't have any wrinkles, which was super super exciting. I'm taking some sandpaper. Mine came from the Dollar Tree. I definitely prefer the sanding block. When I was there last time, they didn't have one. So I just went with the sandpaper. I had some ribbon on hand. You can use any ribbon that you like. I like this orange polka dot ribbon a lot. It came from Michael's a couple years ago, but you can get some ribbon similar to that at Hobby Lobby. So I tied it in a knot, and then I just made a shoelace bow. I'm going to glue the shoelace bow on top of my knot to make it look like a full consecutive bow, and then I get these really nice hanging parts off of the end. I really love how that turned out. I trimmed the longer ones to match the length of the shorter ones. Once I get that all glued on and stuck on and trimmed, then we're going to finish the last part of our project. This wood piece had a hanger and I didn't want to use it as a hanger, so I'm just going to place some white buttons over the hole. I really loved how this turned out. Sometimes you can put like a bow there or something, but there were two and I thought it would look funny with the bows on both ears, but I really loved how the buttons turned out. So we're going to go back to our wooden boards that we painted white earlier, and we're going to hot glue our bunny to the front of that. And that is it for this project. It's definitely my favorite one of the video. Let me know what you guys think about it.
You can't turn the tide, let the water go where it wants to go.
So for this project, we're going to start out with a Dollar Tree bunny, and we're going to cover it with some Mod Podge. Once we get the Mod Podge covered, we're going to lay down our napkin, lay down our saran wrap, and then use our little tool. Now, if you are loving today's video, I would love it if you hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel be seen by other people. Once we get that glued onto our bunny, we're going to go ahead and trim around our napkin. It just makes the sanding process easier, and then we're going to sand in a downward motion. So when you do that, it just kind of cuts the napkin and it takes it right off of the edge of whatever your project is. This works really good for wrapping paper, scrapbook paper, napkins, anything that you're going to Mod Podge. So I got this beaded garland at the Dollar Tree already constructed with this rainbow at the end. I went ahead and cut off the rainbow, and I'm just adding some twine I had on hand. I'm going to go ahead and poke the hole back at the top of our bunny, and we're going to string our twine through. So I didn't like the way that it was looking as I went from the front of the bunny, so I'm going to go ahead and string it from the back of the bunny, and then we're just going to tie a knot right down there by the beads. I love these pre-made garlands that you can get at the Dollar Tree. You can add something at the end and give it such a high-end look. But let me know what you guys think about this project.
You can bury yourself beneath the stones. Somebody told me don't pretend.
So I must have really been into the floral vibes of these napkins. This one really gave me a antique feel. I just loved it. There were two of these napkins, so we're going to use both napkins. I cut just a section of it off, and we're going to Mod Podge it onto our wood pieces. So these eggs and bunnies came from the Dollar Tree. They're one of my very favorite things that they have there for spring and Easter. I just love those wood cutouts. I've done several things with them, and they're just super fun to use. So once I get that onto our wood piece, then I'm going to go ahead again and cut around it. So for the egg, these wood pieces have two raised sections. So there is the actual wood part, and then there is another raised wood part on the inside. I decided to go ahead and use my sanding paper to get off the raised edge in the middle. Now I didn't paint my eggs or bunnies. I liked the natural wood look with the sign that I was going with, and I thought that this gave it an antique look, like I said, with the napkins. You could definitely paint these if you wanted. For the bunnies, I did not do the raised edge, so you don't see the wood part on the bunnies. You could if you wanted to. It was a little bit hard to get that inside seam. Well, all we're going to do is glue our bunnies and eggs onto the sign. It came from the Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square area. Let me know what you think about this one.
Take some good advice.
So for this project, we're going to be making a home sign, and I know that's nothing like new. There's tons of home signs out there. I've never actually made a home sign like this before, so sometimes when I'm crafting on my channel, it's because I've never made the project before, or I see it somewhere and I think, oh man, I want to create that. Now, sometimes it's projects that maybe other people have already created or you've already created, but I hope you get some inspiration from it just by watching the projects themselves. So we're just going to lay our napkin on top of this carrot cutout. It also came from the Dollar Tree. We're going to use some sanding paper and we're going to go around the edges to get all of our napkin off. So I haven't shown my kitty in any videos lately, so if you stick around to the end of this video, I have kind of a fun little clip of him in my craft room. So stick around to the end so you can check that out. So once the napkin gets on our carrot, I just made a shabby bow out of our orange and white polka dot ribbon, added it to the top to kind of cover that hole because the napkin was a little bit on the thin side. And then we're just going to lay our letters down on our sign in the position that we want them to be and hot glue them down. I got this sign at Hobby Lobby. It's one of my favorites. I pick them up all the time when they have a sale on their unfinished wood. But here it is, styled. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
The pieces, hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across.
So there was a couple cute lemon napkins in the grouping of napkins that I received, and I love lemon decor, so I thought I would make these coasters. Now, these coasters came from Hobby Lobby in the unfinished wood section. You can get them for 40% off when they have the sale, so it's actually a really great deal. It comes out to be like around $4, so about $1 a coaster. And they are real wood, and they do have the felt pieces on the bottom to protect your furniture. So these particular napkins only had 1 out of the 4 squares as the lemon design. So I went ahead and used 2 of those napkins, and then I'm going to use 2 of the other type of lemon napkin. So using our same technique, and I'm telling you guys, it uses the whole video, no wrinkles. All the projects turned out so great using this technique, so I can't say enough about it. Thank you, Leonette, for doing your napkin hack video, because I probably never would have tried that. And like I said, that napkin hack video is down in my description box. So we're going to use our sanding paper again, and see, it just comes off so easy on that edge and gives it such a clean finished look, and then you get such a high-end design using just sandpaper. So once I get all the edges off of this napkin, I'm going to go ahead and group them together. I did spray them with some clear acrylic spray to protect them as an actual coaster, but here they are styled. Let me know what you think about these coasters. Kitty likes to join me in the craft room, and if you can tell, he's in an actual basket. He loves to curl up in this basket and sleep. I think it's so adorable. So we're going to cover it with some white folk art chalk paint. I'm going to cover the entire thing. I picked up this little planter stick from the Dollar Tree last season at the end of spring. It was in the clearance aisle, and I paid like $1/4 for it. So yes, Dollar Tree does have a clearance. It's usually by the front of the store. If you've never seen it, go check out the front, and you can probably see some bins that have some marked down items. Sometimes even the Dollar Tree Plus items will be marked down in that bin. So I have these little bunny feet. They also came from Dollar Tree in the spring area. These are felt. If you don't want to use the felt pieces, you can totally use paint here, and you can paint on the toes and the pads of the feet with some pink paint. I just really loved the look of these little felt pieces. I thought they added a really fun touch. So I don't have any wire ears, and that's what's on the planter from Hobby Lobby. But I love these little baskets from the Dollar Tree, and I decided these ears would work really great because they're already stiff, and you want some kind of stiff ear to go here. So I just folded over the ends after I tore it off of the basket, and I'm just going to use some hot glue to give it a little like piece to glue on to the back. I'm going to do that for both of the ears. Once I get those pieces glued on, I want to cover up the little holes from the hanging sign piece. So I used some ribbon, and I just created some little knots in some ribbon and cut off any of the like pieces that were hanging off. And all I'm going to glue there is the actual knot. And then I'm going to take my ears, and I'm going to flip over the sign and add some glue here, and I'm going to just use the little tent part that we put there to glue on. The tent part adds a really nice place for you to glue it on. That is it for this one. I love it. It's my favorite of the video. You guys let me know what you think about this one. Now, I love to work with these unfinished wood pieces that they have in the crafter square area. They have all kinds of different sizes. I've made several of my DIYs with these unfinished wood pieces. I really love that they carry them now at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 2 of them, and I'm going to use some antique Waverly wax, and I'm going to just use a paper towel and rub it on. You could also use a washcloth for this, or if you want, you can just paint it on and rub it off as well. But we're going to cover both sides of the sticks. Then we're going to create our cross shape by just putting one stick over the other one. Now, our inspiration piece also had some lettering in the middle that said "He is risen," along with a grapevine type of wreath. I didn't have "He is risen" or the type of sign like that, but I did have this hope word that I thought was fitting. So I'd also used some antique Waverly wax on that one. It's a little lighter than the other one, and then I took this pitberry garland that I just created a circle shape with. I folded it onto each other because it's wire, so you don't have to do anything extra or use any extra supplies, just the pitberry garland. If you don't have pitberry garland, you could also use twine for this, and you could just wrap it around. That wire twine from Dollar Tree would also work really well for this. So once I get it all in my circle shape, I'm just going to lay it over my hope word. If you don't have any words, you can make this as big or small as you like. I wanted hope to be in the middle, and then I'm just going to add some hot glue on either side, and that is it for this project. It's really beautiful. I really love how it turned out. It's very simple, but very beautiful.
Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time.
I have these flat half beads from Amazon. I'll link them down in my description box. They're one of my very favorite things to craft with. They're easy to glue on because they only have half a bead. But I'm just going to add a little bit of my white chalk paint into this bucket, and then I'm going to add some water. Now, you can save the water paint mixture. It comes out as a stain, and if you don't want to, or if you feel like you're wasting your paint, you can save this for later. I do it all the time with different colors of paint. And then I use a paintbrush too sometimes to use it as a stain. So you can definitely save it if you're worrying about wasting paint. But once I get them all out of my paint bucket, I'm ready to glue them on. We're going to go ahead and take off this top part of the sign because we're not going to use it. And I did go ahead and save those beads for a later project. We're going to take our half beads and we're going to go all the way around our round side. Now, I did check this before I started gluing my beads on, just to make sure I had enough beads and that they were going to fit in a flush manner. But I'm just going to take each bead and lay it right next to each other, right on the edge of the sign, and go all the way around the sign. So the 2 little holes from the hanger do kind of show from my beads. So I made a couple more of those cute little knots in the pink ribbon this time. And then I'm going to take a piece of ribbon and I'm just going to glue it onto the back to use as a hanger. Now, I don't usually hang my signs. I usually use an easel or something like that to put them on a shelf. I don't have a lot of hanging signs in my home, but sometimes I like to add the hanger just in case, or to give it a little bit more dimension. But here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one.
Tears stream down my face. My mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday.
So these bunnies actually did not come from the Dollar Tree. They came from Target in the kids crafting area. The box is $5 for all 3 bunnies, and I did see them there again this year. But I'm going to use these 3 colors, and I'm going to cover all of the bunnies. If you don't want to spend the $5 for these bunnies, but you don't have to, there are some other options at Dollar Tree that you could use. But I'm telling you, these are really good quality bunnies. They are pretty thick wood, and they are just a really nice quality wood piece. I'm using some cotton balls from the Dollar Tree to add to their tails, and then just some white ribbon that I had on hand to add a little bow to the back of these. When I was creating these and doing the voiceover, they totally reminded me of Peeps. Let me know down in the comments if you guys think that these bunnies look like Peeps. So here's where a fail kind of happened, but I put my stickers onto my ruler because this is a really easy way to like make sure that your signs are even if you're not using like a vinyl piece and you want to use stickers or something. But as I go to put it on the sign, as you can see, like half of my stickers popped off and I had to go ahead and put them back on the ruler anyway, but it does still come out fairly straight. I probably should have had a little bit more of the bottom piece of my sticker onto the ruler. That way they would have been a little bit more secure when I went to adhere them onto my wood piece. Now the wood bottom piece did come from the Dollar Tree. I just painted it white. It's another one of those unfinished wood pieces from the Crafter Square. I'm going to glue these bunnies to the top of it, and that is it for this project. I absolutely love how this one turned out. Let me know what you guys think.
Giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama said.
I took another one of the unfinished wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. I had this welcome piece on hand. Sometimes you can find the welcome words from the Dollar Tree, and they have like different sayings in there, and welcome is usually one of the words you can find. I'm going to take another couple of our bunny feet. I think there's 10 in a pack here, so you get a really good deal and you can make several projects with these. I decided to line mine up with like the middle toe. I don't know why, but that just seemed to make sense to me. The little pads don't totally fit onto the foot, so you're just going to kind of line it up as best as you see fit. So once we get those glued on, I'm going to take another piece of wood from the Dollar Tree. I did stain this one with the Antique Waverly Wax as well. I didn't show that here, but we'd already seen that. Now, I failed a little bit here because we only want to glue at the very top of the sign because we're going to put welcome down there. And I was just thinking I was gluing it right on top of this piece, but no worries, hot glue comes off. So I went ahead and readjusted my sign. I also did not make sure this was even when I glued it on and had to do a little readjusting. So just make sure you have it placed where you want it before you put your hot glue down. And it really just kind of depends on your hot glue brand and hotness if it will stick or not be removable. But most of the time on wood, it'll be removable. I made a couple more of those knots, and I just wanted to show you guys here. All I did was take some ribbon, make it into a knot in the middle, and then I just took my scissors and cut off the excess pieces of the ribbon. I really loved how this turned out, and I think I'm going to use this technique a little more often to cover up holes. I just think it's so adorable. So we're going to add those two little pink knots, and then that is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
This moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight.
So I also picked up one of these eggs. Now I'm really enjoying these like wood cutouts that have the whitewash on them. I think they are a little bit higher quality than just the plain wood cutouts that they have over in the Crafter Square area. But this bunny is absolutely adorable, and I saw him and I thought he would fit perfectly on the egg, and he totally did. So all we're going to do is add him here to the front of this egg, and we're going to use some Mod Podge. If you've never used window clings to craft with before, you just place the Mod Podge on the back. I use a paintbrush, and I usually use a paintbrush that's like getting to the end of its life. That way, if like any of the glue gets stuck in the paintbrush, it's not a big deal if I end up having to throw it away. But I like to use a regular paintbrush rather than a foam brush because I'm just not a foam brush like person. I don't really like using them at all. But you can definitely use a foam brush if you would rather do that instead. But all you're going to do is brush it on. I decided to take a couple of these little flowers that were also on the same window cling set. I added them to the side of the bunny. They matched the bunny's little headpiece. And then for the last part of this DIY, I'm going to go ahead and add a bow. I'm using some buffalo check ribbon, tied it into an awareness bow, used some twine to tie it off in the middle, and then we're just going to hot glue it up here at the top. I decided to add a pink flower here in the middle to match the flowers that are on our bunny. This did come from the Dollar Tree. I've had this for a little while, but they have several spring flowers out right now that you can choose from. We're just going to glue it here into the middle, and that is it for this DIY. This is definitely my favorite one of the video. Let me know what you guys think about it. recently found this house cutout at the Dollar Tree. It has an easel on the back. I love projects that can stand up on their own, so I definitely picked one of these up. We're going to use the Happy Easter, or Easter Blessings, I think it actually says. Using some Mod Podge, we're going to go ahead and paint that onto our window cling. It does go over the sides just a tiny bit, so we're just going to take some scissors and cut off any excess that is there. We're going to add a bow and another flower up at the top. It does kind of hide the house part a little bit, but I really love how this turned out. If you guys aren't following me on my other social medias, I would love it if you did that. I will have all the links down in my description box, and you can check them out after this video. Let me know what you guys think about this project.
Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last when tears streamed down my face.
For this project, we're going to make some little tags. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby over in their party section. You get about 10 to 20 of them in a whole group, and sometimes they are even on sale. So they're a really great price for what you get. They are also the whitewash look, kind of like the egg that we use at the beginning of the video. I just have eggs left on my window cling, so I picked out 2 of the eggs. I glued these on before I was like, I think I need to put an egg down at the bottom, but I was able to just kind of slide it in there and then put some Mod Podge on it while it was in there. But I just go ahead and kind of align them here to what I'm looking for. I'm going to add a pink ribbon up here at the top. You could add this to a beaded garland. You could use this as a gift tag. There's a lot of little different options that you could make, but I think that this turned out super cute. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Gonna pay off someday, and the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause I'm growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough.
For this project, we're going to use one of these wooden house signs that I got during Christmas time at Hobby Lobby. I covered it with some white folk art chalk paint, and then we're using another window cling from the Dollar Tree. These have the cutest little chickens on it. I don't use a lot of ducks and chickens during spring. I always tend to go to the bunnies, but I thought these were really adorable, and I thought that they were fitting for this little house. So I just kind of lay them down and try to position where I want them to go. First, I was going to put them in the middle, but then I had some other thoughts for the top. So I went ahead and used my Mod Podge, glued them on, and now I'm going to make some little bows to go at the top of each part of the house section. If you are liking this video and you made it this far, I would love it if you went down and hit the like button. It really helps my video be seen by other people. So we're just making awareness bows here, and we're just going to fold it over, use some twine. I show you just one bow. Sometimes I don't know if I should show the bows in the video or not, but I always have to remind myself that everyone is starting somewhere in their crafting journey, and some people are starting at the very beginning. So every once in a while I'll put one little tutorial on how to make the bow, and then I kind of leave it at that. But if you don't know how to make the awareness bow, you can slow that down a little bit, and it'll help you make these really super cute bows. So once I get them glued up at the top, I take some buttons, and I'm using orange because there's orange in the little headdress parts of the chicken, and I thought that kind of brought it all together. But we're just going to glue these buttons into the middle, and that is it for this project. I love these little chickens! Let me know what you guys think about this project.
Mama said, I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand.
So this year I've been really trying to craft with my stash, and I have had this little I don't even know what you would call it, a garden marker. That's what we're going to call it. I've had this garden marker in my stash for a really long time, and I was like, I'm going to use it today. So I just painted it with some white folk art chalk paint. I'm using some letters. I've had these for a while. I got them at Hobby Lobby. You can get them on the sales for Paper Studio. That's when I tend to go get them, and they last for a really long time, and they end up being a really good deal if you can get them on sale. Now, I originally put the letters in the middle, but at the end when you see the picture, I moved it up because we're going to add something underneath the eggs, and I thought they were too close. But I took two of the egg window clings from our first window cling set, and I'm just going to add them here at the side. This one's really simple. You could embellish this more or less. It didn't hold a lot of the eggs on the sign because it's kind of small. But I took some more stickers that I had from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to put 5 cents here using a C and an I. That way, if you don't have the cent sign, you can always make a cent sign. But here it is styled for you guys. This is super simple. Let me know what you think about this one.
Wish I could freeze this moment, babe. Weeks and months and years they pass, and I knew it wouldn't last.
For this project, we're going to start out with one of these wood signs that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. They're one of my favorites in the unfinished wood area. We're going to use my favorite stencil from Walmart. This is a Waverly stencil. Looks like a honeycomb. We're going to start over here on the edge, and you want to place your stencil kind of hanging off of the project. That way it looks like it's fully finished once you have it all on. You're going to do this in sections, and so you're going to place some of the stencil in the part that you've already painted so that it lines up and it gives it a uniform design when you're all done. I'm going to lay my other stencil on top of this Beehive stencil. These stencils came from Amazon in a pack of, I want to say 6. They're really beautiful. I will link them down in the description box. We'll be using them all through this video. So I'm just using some black folk art chalk paint. I'm going to go over the entire stencil, and then I want to give it a little bit of rustic distressed farmhouse look, so I'm just using my same chippy brush, no extra paint, and I'm going to cover the entire sign. This is optional. I like rustic. If you don't, you do not have to do this step. I also chose to go on the white sections around the sides because we don't want to have a stark white within black and yellow on the inside, looking like it was weathered on one part and not the other. So once we get that all painted, we're going to take some sandpaper. This is from the Dollar Tree. I prefer the sanding block, but I haven't picked up one yet because mine was all used up. So I'm just going to cover this whole thing with some sandpaper. This is definitely up to you, and where you kind of end like sanding is where you like what it looks like. I picked up this ribbon last year at Sam's Club. It's a bee ribbon. It's so beautiful, and I never even used it last year, so I have this one and another like honeycomb looking one, so I'm excited to use it this year. I just tied some twine in the middle, and then I took these florals that came from the Dollar Tree, and I attached them to the side of the ribbon. And then I'm going to place a flower into the center of the bow that also came from Dollar Tree. That is it for this project. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to take a house. I'm reusing this from another project. It came from Hobby Lobby. It was a clearance item, and another one of those Amazon stencils. I'm using a light yellow paint from Folk Art. When I got this one onto the house, it gave me like Winnie the Pooh vibes. You guys let me know what you think if you got Winnie the Pooh vibes from this. But I'm just going to take my same brush, no extra paint, and I'm going to go around the edges. This ribbon came from the Dollar Tree. I just made a shabby bow, and then I took one of these hearts that I had also got from the Dollar Tree and glued into the middle. This one's my favorite project of the day. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to take a burlap bag that I had on hand and another one of those really cute stencils from Amazon. Don't forget, they're linked down below, and I'm just using some black folk art chalk paint. What I really love about like burlap, and when you stencil it on, it gives you that kind of old-fashioned look or the distressed kind of look, and I really like how that turns out. So you don't need total coverage here. I only did one coat. If you want it to be a little bit darker, you can do a second coat. Then I'm just taking some polyfill. I get mine, this one came from Hobby Lobby, and you can also get it at Walmart, and I'm just going to stuff my bag with my polyfill. Once I get that all stuffed in there, I took some more of those florals from the Dollar Tree. These ones are my favorite. I don't know why, but they give me like springy bee vibes. And I'm just going to put them in there I think I used 4 bundles. I didn't cut them apart or anything. So when I'm done with this project, I can definitely reuse these florals. That's one trick, especially when you're using a bag, because you don't need to cut them off. Once I get the bag all tied, I decided it needed a little extra something, so I decided to add a little bit more ribbon. I take that same Sam's Club ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around the bag and tie it into a really cute bow. That is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think about this one. If you like projects like this, definitely think about subscribing because these are the kind of projects I do on my channel. So this project got a little bit of revamping, and so I don't have a whole lot of the footage from it because I took out a lot of what happened. But we're going to paint this onto our canvas, and then I have these florals here. I don't keep them because I don't like them, but I do go ahead and add the buttons, and I wanted you to see like just how I decided to place the buttons around. I take the florals off and I add buttons there instead, and I think it looks 100 times better. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Now I love making coasters, and I've made several sets of coasters on my channel. I decided to use up some of the stencils I hadn't used yet, and I took a different bee from each one of the stencils, and I'm going to put them on the 4 coasters. I also have a stencil that is not part of this pack, but I've used it several times in lots of different videos. I also included it into this coaster set. It's the bee that has the crown on top, and I'll link a video at the end of this video showing some other ways that I've used it. If you're liking today's video and you've made it this far, don't forget to hit that like button. It gives my video some love and it gets it to other people. Here they are styled. These are very simple, black and white. I did go ahead and put a coat on top so they are secure when you're using them as actual coasters, and let me know what you think about this one. Picked up several of them, and I thought it would be really fun to DIY with these today. So they do come on a stick. I just went ahead and took the stick off. It took a little bit of elbow grease to get it off, and you want to be careful because you don't want it to break off. But if you wiggle it back and forth, it will come out of the hole. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the piece with some cashew Waverly chalk paint, and then I love this honeycomb stencil. I went ahead and went over it. I am going to do that same technique through the whole video, so I'm only going to show it here once. But I took this charger that I also got at the Dollar Tree. I love the color navy. I love it for fall. I love it for summer. I just really love that color. So they have these really cool chargers there now that have like a galvanized middle. And I saw this sticker in the like wallpaper area, and I thought, oh, that would be really cool because it looks like honeycomb. So I went ahead and stuck the sticker onto our charger, and then I just cut off some areas that were hanging over. You pretty much get to use the whole sticker, not very much of it gets cut off, so that's kind of nice as well. So I took our honeycomb piece, and I'm just going to add this little bee sticker that I got from Hobby Lobby. These are really pretty. They're like little jewel stickers. I made a shabby bow out of some ribbon that I got from Sam's Club. I know that's kind of like a weird place to get some ribbon, but I noticed they have quite a bit on sale this year as well, and they're really large ribbon rolls. So if you can find them there, definitely pick some up, and they have some other colors as well. But we're going to take our honeycomb piece and glue that that down to the bottom of our charger, and then onto our bow we're going to glue this really cute silver and yellow button into the middle, and then that is it for this DIY. You guys let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to create a wreath, and I've been holding on to this scarf for a really long time, and I finally get to use it, so I'm excited. But we're using the large wreath frame, and we're going to just cover it with some burlap ribbon. This is ribbon that came from, I believe, Hobby Lobby, but Dollar Tree does sell the same ribbon. So I cut the scarf just at the seam, and we're going to wrap the scarf around the wreath. Now, it is kind of thin, so that's why I added the ribbon underneath, because I didn't want the wreath frame to show. So this is the most adorable little scarf I have ever seen. It has the cutest bees on it, so we're just going to go ahead and wrap it around. It's like a navy color as well, along with those yellow bees, and I just really like that color combination together. So we're going to go ahead and take some more of our ribbon. I tied a shoelace ribbon together this time with both sets of ribbon, and we're just going to glue that up at the top. I'm also going to add one of our little honeycomb pieces here, and I did the same process as I did at the beginning of the video. Now, you could do several variations here. You could add a bee as well if you want. I added a metal bee down here at the bottom. It is a plant stick from the Dollar Tree. Let me know what you think about this one.
There wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby.
For this project, we're going to make a little arrow sign, and I picked up these 3 arrow wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. I also picked up this bunny stake, and we're going to glue them onto our bunny stake. But before we glue them onto our stake, we're going to go ahead and cover them all with our Cashew Waverly chalk paint. I just removed the stake part from our bunny along with the bow, and we're going to use that piece for our crossing piece. I really love that bunny, and I'm going to save him for a different project. But we're going to go ahead and glue our arrows onto the board. I kind of wanted them to be at an angle, but there wasn't enough room on the stake to put all 3 at an angle, so they had to be kind of at a straight length, so the bottoms could fit under the arrow part. Once I get them all on there, I realized I didn't do any dry brushing to these after I already kind of started the project, so I was a little bummed about that, but I do really like how this turned out. So if you wanted to be a little bit more farmhouse looking, definitely go over it with a coat of white paint to give it a little bit more of a dry brush distress look. So I'm using these stickers that I got from Hobby Lobby. I've used these in several projects, so they really went a long way. You could also use a cutting machine here, or Dollar Tree has so many options when it comes to stickers and letters. You could use those as well. So I glued our honeycomb piece on the end, and if you haven't guessed yet, we're going to spell out the word honeycomb, and this one's going to be Honeycomb Lane. So I just added a couple more of those little jeweled stickers. These were like a little honeycomb, and then I added a bee here. These are all gonna, of course, be bee themed things that we're pointing to. Our next one is going to be bee crossing, and we're going to go ahead and spell that out with our same letters, and then we're going to add a couple bees to our sign, and then the bottom one is going to say honey, and we're going to add just a couple of honey type related stickers there. All my stickers came from Hobby Lobby today, but you definitely have tons of options for stickers from the Dollar Tree, or if you can wait until they go on sale at Hobby Lobby, they are a great deal. I really love how this one turned out. I'm going to go ahead and add it to a planter, and you guys let me know what you think about this one. I have to admit, this is the very first crossing type of sign I've ever made that had the arrows. I don't know why I've never made one, but this turned out adorable. I definitely will have to make another one.
Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause I'm growing up, falling in love, giving your all
project, we're going to take one of those rustic wood pieces from the Dollar Tree, another one of our honeycombs that we painted similar to the front or the beginning of our video. I also have one of these honey stir sticks. I got mine from an Amazon return store that I have in my city, but I will put a link down in my description box if you want to check them out on Amazon and pick them up. I think they're super adorable. So we're going to use some hot glue and we're going to just kind of simulate honey dripping off of our stir stick. I've seen this on a couple other channels before and I thought I would give it a try. Someone who does a really good job at this is Kiki DIYs. She's made some really adorable bee DIYs using that same technique. Then we're going to take this Farm Fresh lettering and we're going to go ahead and paint it black. This was my son's idea. He thought that this would look really adorable and I think it turned out really cute, so definitely kudos to him for designing this project. So we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our sign. If you are not following me on my other socials and you want to check them out, I will have links down in my description box for each of my socials. I would love it if you went and checked me out there and gave me a follow if that's something that you would like to do. So once we get our Farm Fresh glued on, we're going to go ahead and glue our bow onto our little honeycomb piece. And that is it for this cute little project. Let me know what you think about this one.
Just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch.
So my Dollar Tree started selling these little strips of fabric. I hope this is not the only fabric they're going to come out with. I haven't had any new fabric at my store and I really like the fat quarters more than these little strips. But these were bee themed and so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. We're going to make a cute little shabby bow. All we're going to do, I love to do this technique. If you've been following me for a while, you know how much I love this. You know what I left out of this bow though? Let me know down in the comments if you can pick out what you think I left out of this bow that is one of my signature items to craft with. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. But we're going to go ahead and cut these into little strips and then we're going to make a shabby bow. I like to use a piece of the fabric in the bow, so I just go ahead and crisscross them. My last piece of fabric is a piece that I tie off the bow with. I love to do this technique because then it just becomes part of the bow and you don't waste any of the fabric. So we're using this honeycomb piece that we painted on the stick this time. We're just going to glue this little bow up at the top and that is it for this actual piece of the honeycomb. I like that one. It's pretty simple. So I took a little pot that I had painted for a previous project. This did come from the Dollar Tree and they do have them out right now, so if you want to pick up pots, now is your time to go get them. I'm going to stick some floral foam in there and I'm just going to add my honeycomb along with some flowers. I only had pink on hand. I think yellow would look better, so I might kind of redo this a little bit later with some yellow flowers. I've been really trying to craft with my stash this year. I'm on a budget. I'm doing a whole budgeting thing, and so anyway, I've really been trying to use what I had. But I get all my flowers in there. I'm just going to add some Spanish moss, and then that is it for this super cute, easy project. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Just talked until midnight. I just wish I could freeze this moment, babe. Weeks and months and years they pass, and I knew it wouldn't last when tears streamed down my face.
Now I thought these little bunnies just needed a little bit of refreshing and updating. They're super cute, they're wood, and they're fairly large, so I picked up several of them. For this project, we're going to be using one of these bunnies. Now I'm going to do the same thing to two of the bunnies, and we're going to use the second bunny in the second project. But we're going to go ahead and remove all of the pieces on the bunny. We're going to take off the little bow. We're also going to take off his tail, and then where it says egg siding, where it says siding, it's raised wood there. So I'm going to go ahead and use a screwdriver to remove it. I want to tell you guys, it was kind of difficult to get the wording off. I used a scraper, I used a screwdriver. I did finally get it off, but I'm going to warn you, it takes a little bit of elbow grease. If you want to do this project and not remove those, you could definitely turn it over and use the back side. and then you'd have a two-sided project. So I'm taking this vinyl from Dollar Tree, and this one's my favorite. It totally gives me Pioneer Woman vibes, but we're going to go ahead and cover the bunny with our vinyl. So I know some of you guys have told me before that, I'm wasting some of the vinyl. I am able to do 2 bunnies out of this one roll of vinyl, and I think that's pretty good. I'm okay with that. If you want to save your scrap pieces, definitely you could trace around the back of the vinyl, and that way you would have the excess pieces left over to do another project with. So I'm using an X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to go around the project, and then I'm using my sanding block to go around the sides to get off any of the excess vinyl. I like to use a sanding block, but sandpaper will work just as well. You can pick up these sanding blocks in the automotive area at Dollar Tree. So once I've gone over the entire bunny, I'm going to make this little bow. I'm going to make 2 of these brown ones because, like I said, we're going to make 2 of these floral bunnies. So I'm just doing the awareness bow. I kind of pinch it in the middle. I'm using some twine, and I'm going to tie off the middle there with the twine. Super tight. And then I just come in with some scissors and clip off any of the excess. It makes this cute little bow. So we're going to attach our bow here to the center of our bunny just to give it just like a little bow tie feel. If you want to put it up by the ears, you could do that, or maybe even by the tail if you wanted to put it as a tail instead. It's really up to you. I wanted mine to look a little bit like a bow tie. So we're going to take this giant sign that I got from Hobby Lobby in the unfinished wood area. You can get these for 40% off, so they're a super great deal if you want a large DIY. This was so high-end looking at the end when I was finished with it. I couldn't believe how easy it was. I didn't spend a lot of money to make it, and I absolutely love it. It's definitely something I think you could find in Home Goods or Hobby Lobby, but here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to take another large wood piece from the Dollar Tree Plus section. This egg was $5. The bunnies were only $3, and they were already completed, so I thought that was kind of funny. But they are pretty large eggs. I'm just going to cover it with this green folk art chalk paint. I'll leave the color down in my description box. We're going to take another one of those little awareness bows, glue it into the middle like a little bow tie. If you're not following me on my other socials, I will have the links down in my description box, and you can check those out after the video. I'm just going to add a generous amount of hot glue here. We're going to add our bunny to the front of the egg, and that is it for this simple DIY. I really love how this one turned out. Again, you could do any vinyl here. You could do the buffalo check if you wanted to, or any just a solid color, but I really love that floral piece of vinyl, and I just think it gives it a really high-end look. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Could you come a little closer? I want you by my side, and I'll try the best I can to make you feel this way. Don't let me down, down, down. It could be you and I want you now, 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 now. Do you know what time it is? It's time for you to hit the like button. If you're enjoying today's video, I would love it if you went down, hit the like button. It helps my video be seen by other people. So for this project, we're going to take another one of those bunnies. Now I'm going to not do anything to the front of this bunny. I'm adding some buttons up at the top where the holes were. This is a hanging sign if you pick it up at the Dollar Tree, so I just wanted to cover those holes up. You could also use little knots of ribbon, which is one of my other favorite things to do to cover up holes. I also made another awareness bow here with my ribbon that came from Hobby Lobby that kind of reminds me of Pioneer Woman. I went ahead and put that one up at the ear just to give it more of like a feminine look. I covered this scrap piece of wood with the same pink folk art chalk paint that I thought matched pretty close to the bunny color. Now these two signs are also from the Dollar Tree, and they are just like little stick signs that you would put in a planter. I removed the backing, and we're going to hot glue them here to the sides of this wood piece. I'm not going to do anything special to these. I'm leaving them the way that they were from Dollar Tree. I think this turns out so adorable. So if you guys need a super simple project that is pretty large and high-end looking, this is the project for you. So we're going to attach 2 of those eggs, one on each side, and then we're going to take our bunny and we're going to attach the bunny in between these 2 eggs. Now you're going to want to put a little bit of wood on the back as well. My piece of wood was not quite long enough or wide enough for it to stand up on its own, so I just added a couple pieces of scrap wood that I had on hand to the back of it to make it a stand-up piece. And that was it for this DIY. I love this one. Let me know what you guys think about it. For this project, we're going to use 3 of these green bunnies from the Dollar Tree Plus section. We're going to remove the hop and all the other pieces on there. I thought this one might be a little easier because it was just 3 letters, but it wasn't. It took almost the same amount of time to remove the hop as it did the larger words. So if that's not something that you are wanting to spend time on, you can definitely flip it over and use the back side instead. So we're going to attach our vinyl onto our bunnies. Now this vinyl also did come from the Dollar Tree, and again, if you're wanting to save your vinyl scraps, you can trace this instead and then cut it out and attach it. That way you're able to keep any of the excess vinyl for a later project. I'm going to be using an X-Acto knife here, and so I'm just going to lay a mat under my bunny and use my X-Acto knife to cut around with the vinyl. I went ahead and did that on all 3 bunnies. So then we're going to use our sanding block and we're going to get any of the excess vinyl off of our bunnies, and we're going to do that on all 3 bunnies as well. Then we're going to make some awareness ribbons. These are using the plain burlap ribbon and the polka dot burlap ribbon that you can get both at the Dollar Tree. As I was making these bows, it was really funny. The middle of the polka dot ribbon roll was missing all of the polka dots. Let me know if that's ever happened to you before with some Dollar Tree ribbon. But we're going to go ahead and make 3 of these, and we're going to attach them to our bunnies. So 2 of them are going to be in the middle with the bow tie, and then 1 is going to go up by the ear. It would really be cute too if you used one of the bows down at the bottom like a tail, and then 1 in the middle as a bow tie, and 1 up at the top by the ear. That would be adorable as well. But we're going to be making a sitting sign here, and so I went ahead and had 2 that were similar and 1 that was different because we're in a grouping of 3. Once I get my bows attached to the bunnies, I'm going to take some solo wood flowers that I had in my stash. These are a really pretty green color. If you've never used these, you can check them out on their website. I'll leave a link down in my description box for you to do that. We're going to attach them into the middle of each of the bows, and then we're going to take a sign that I got from Dollar Tree. It's just one of the Easter signs they have in the section right now, but if you have some leftover signs from a different season, it'll work just as fine. You just want one of the larger, longer signs so that all 3 bunnies will fit on it. I'm going to go ahead and attach them here. I painted the back of the sign with some white folk art chalk paint. I'm using some spare wood as well to the back of them just to give them a little bit more stability because there are some raised edges on the bottom. They are not flat. So you're going to want to put something back there to make sure that they adhere to the sign. And that is it for this project. I really love how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think about this one. A really cute wood egg, and we're going to cover 2 of the planks with white folk art chalk paint and then 2 of the planks with some sage folk art chalk paint. I had saved this vintage bunny. He was a planter pick, and I had taken off the backing planter pick part and used it in a different project, and I saved him because I just loved all of the vintage rabbit feels he gave me. Then I took this ribbon that I had in my stash. It came from Walmart, but you can definitely find some adorable ribbon at Hobby Lobby or any craft store at this time. They've got their seasonal decor out. I've also seen some really cute ribbon this year at Sam's Club. It's about $10 per roll, but they are really large rolls and you get quite a bit for the price. I'm going to go ahead and dovetail the ends of our ribbon, and then we're going to add a little bit of embellishments to the middle of our bow. We're going to take 2 of these carrots from the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 4. I had these in my stash, but I did see them out at the store not too long ago, so you can still pick them up there. We're just going to add them there with some hot glue, and then we're going to add one little bit embellishment down here at the bottom of our egg. I'm going to take some eucalyptus picks that I had on hand. I get mine at Walmart. I think they are a really good quality, and for the price you can't beat it. But you can also do a eucalyptus garland from Hobby Lobby when they're 40% off, and that is also a really good deal, and that will last you quite a bit of time. I've been reusing these eucalyptus picks for quite some time now, so definitely save your florals when you're done or you're moving on to another season. But we're just going to add them all the way down at the bottom with some hot glue, and then that is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think of him. I think he's adorable. Definitely my favorite of the video. For this project, we're going to be sprucing up this metal bunny. I picked him up in the Dollar Tree Plus section. He was $3. We're going to cover him with some of my flat Rust-Oleum spray paint. It does work on metal and plastic. So I gave it a couple coats, and then all we're really going to do is add a cute bow here. I'm using my same ribbon that I went ahead and made an awareness bow. We're going to use the other 2 carrots from our package and add that right into the middle of the bow. That is it for this project. It's adorable. Sprucing him up, it definitely gave him a much more high-end look. You guys let me know what you think about this guy.
With you, baby. Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby.
For this project, we're going to take one of those metal planters that they have at the Dollar Tree. We're going to use some white folk art chalk paint, and we're going to dry brush around the twine section that they have at the top. I like to do that. It gives it a little bit more of a farmhouse look with the distressing. But if you don't like distressing, you don't have to do that step. Then we're going to take a ribbon and we're going to just make another awareness bow and add it to the top middle of our planter. I'm using my cute bunny and carrot ribbon, but any ribbon will do here. I also picked up these carrot stickers at the Dollar Tree. We're going to add that right to the middle of our bow. I think that it goes so well with this ribbon. I didn't add any glue here because it is a sticker, but if you felt like whatever you were adhering it to was not going to stick, you could definitely add some glue. I'm going to go ahead and add some hot glue here to my floral foam. You can see the steam coming off of my hot glue gun. I say this like every video, but I definitely need a new hot glue gun. So we're going to go ahead, add that to the bottom. I'm going to use a dowel that I had on hand. This was from a different project. It had like a wooden piece at the top, but you can get dowels at Dollar Tree, Walmart, pretty much any craft store. I also picked up this bunny from the Dollar Tree Plus section. We're going to go ahead and remove the raffia piece from him. We're going to be adding a ribbon here. Just as an FYI here, if you're removing the raffia, I used these rabbits in another video and some of the greenery part came off when I removed the raffia. So make sure that you have a plan to do something else around its neck if you do that, or that you have a plan to cover up the foam when the greenery part comes off. So we're just going to take this ribbon that I got at Michael's and we're going to make a shoelace bow. Any ribbon will do here. I just absolutely love this polka dot ribbon. It's one of my favorites. I use it during the fall season as well because orange is for fall too. So once I get that onto our bunny, that is all I'm going to add to him. He's just simple. You could do other embellishments here if you wanted to, or you could place the ribbon other places on his body. But once I get the bow all situated, we are going to add the dowel to the bottom of our bunny, and then we are going to stick the dowel into our floral foam. Once we get the dowel into the floral foam, we're going to take some Spanish moss and we're going to go all around the inside with our Spanish moss, and then that is it for this project. I love our bunny topiary. Let me know what you guys think about this project.
Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday.
So for this project, we're going to take one of these Easter signs from the Dollar Tree. We're going to use a planter stick that I had from a different project. I used the piece that was attached to it already. So now we're going to make our own planter pick. We're going to add our egg on top and just use some hot glue. We're going to add a button up here at the top of our sign to hide the hole that had the hanger on it. And this is just a really easy way to cover those holes. I like to use ribbon and buttons as well. So if you need some ideas to cover those holes in your signs, those are some of my favorites. Then I'm going to take this plastic planter and I'm going to use this blue Rust-Oleum Rust-Oleum spray paint. It also adheres to plastic and metal, and it works really well and gives really good coverage. So we're going to go ahead and take 2 pieces of this floral foam from the Dollar Tree. We're going to add some hot glue and we're going to glue it down into the bottom of our planter. I'm going to glue one on top of the other. I didn't bother taking the plastic pieces off because no one's going to see it and it'll adhere to the planter just as well. Then I'm going to add our other piece on top. Now I have some space around our floral foam, and to take care of that space, I'm just going to add some Dollar Tree plastic bags into that space area. I decided to go ahead and add a bow here at the bottom. Using just some of the plain burlap ribbon that they have at the Dollar Tree, we're going to add a button here into the middle. I'm using a yellow button just to accent the yellow in our Easter blessing sign. So once I get that all assembled and I've added my plastic bag here, we're ready to assemble our planter. So we're going to use some Spanish moss and we're going to fill in our planter. We're going to stick our planter piece right through our floral foam. I like to do mine at an angle, but it's up to you however you like to place yours. I always go kind of offset to an angle. So once I stick it down into our floral foam, we're going to add our Spanish moss, and then we're ready to embellish our planter. So I'm going to be using this little bunny that I got at the Target dollar spot. He is $3. And then we're going to be using these speckled eggs from the Dollar Tree. These are some of my favorite eggs from there. I just think the speckled gives them a more high-end look. I don't know if it's just me, but I like them better than plastic eggs. You're going to want to make a little hole in your Spanish moss just so your eggs have a place to sit. And then that is it for this really cute planter. You guys let me know what you think about this one.
Your feeling gradually fades away, 'cause growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart, that's what my mama said.
So for this project, we're going to take one of these wood pieces from the crafter square area and we're going to cover it with our white folk art chalk paint. I'm taking this egg that I also got from the Dollar Tree Plus section. It was $3. They have several different colors. Well, I don't know about several, but they have at least green, pink, and blue. I picked up this green one. It has some really intricate details on it. It does say Happy Easter with some little bunny cutouts. We're going to go ahead and glue it there, and then we're going to add some Spanish moss around the bottom. Now, if you didn't want to have the Spanish moss section of this project. The egg itself is really beautiful and would make a really cute shelf sitter. I just thought it gave it a little bit more of a high-end look by adding the wood board and the Spanish moss. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments if you think that this step is really necessary. I really like how it looks sitting on my shelf, but that is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight.
I found one of these wreaths. Now this was in the Dollar Tree Plus section for $5, but since it was on clearance, it was $1.25. I picked up a couple of them. It is a grapevine wreath type wreath form. It's not totally a grapevine wreath, but it is kind of messy like one. So make sure if you're going to use something like this that you have something down on your surface, because it does get pretty messy. So we're going to go ahead and remove all the greenery from this wreath form. I did go ahead and set it aside for a different project. The really nice thing about this type of wreath form is that the greenery pieces can just fit into it nicely without any hot glue. So we're going to add glue here to the side of our wreath to add a sign, and I had this bunny on hand, but they have several adorable signs out this year for spring and Easter. We're just going to go ahead and attach that to the side of our wreath. Then I'm going to take this eucalyptus that I had on hand. I get my eucalyptus picks from Walmart. They are a really great deal. I've been using these for several years now. I just reuse them in my projects when I'm done with them or when I've moved on to a different season. So it is really versatile and will last you a really long time. You can also get a eucalyptus garland from Hobby Lobby when they're 40% off and cut it up and use it like that, which is also a really good deal. So I'm just going to go around and I'm sticking these into the wreath form and no glue necessary here. That way we can reuse them at a later date, and then I just go back and fill in any holes. I wanted to make sure that it was fairly full here on the side. Then I picked up these really cute flowers from the Dollar Tree and we're going to add them into our wreath where there is some missing pieces. I also did not use hot glue on the flowers. We just stuck them into the wreath form. And that is it for this super adorable spring wreath. Let me know what you guys think about this one. It's definitely one of my favorites from the video today. For this project, we're going to take one of these wood pieces from the Crafter Square section and we're going to cover it with some sheepskin folk art chalk paint. I also picked up this really adorable sticker. It says Chase the Sun. It is one of those vinyl stickers that you can add to your computer or any surface like that, but it worked really well on this wood piece. We're just going to go ahead and add it here. It is such a cute saying, Chase the Sun. It definitely reminds me of spring and summer. I'm going to use this stake pick that I had on hand left over from another project, and we're just going to glue our wood piece up here at the top. So if you use these stake pieces from Dollar Tree, definitely save the stakes for later because you can use them in all kinds of projects. So I picked up this watering can from the Target Dollar Spot last year, and I'm just going to add some floral foam in there. I did not add any hot glue here, that way I can take this out and reuse it at a later date. I picked up these dahlias from the Dollar Tree, and here's a hack if you're not sure how to remove that plastic piece or you're tired of cutting or like tearing it. You're just going to remove one of the flowers from the flower stem, slip it off, and then put your flower back on. Super easy and fast. So then we're going to add our flowers to this arrangement. I'm only using one bundle here because this is a small space, so I just kind of arrange the flowers how I think they look adorable, and then I'm going to take some more of my eucalyptus picks and add those into any of the spaces. Here it is styled for you guys. I really love how cute and simple this turned out.
I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby.
For this project, we're going to use one of these really large wood eggs that I found in the Dollar Tree Plus section. We're going to use this white folk art chalk paint and some green acrylic paint. We're going to paint 2 of the planks white and 2 of the planks green. I had these beads left over from a beaded garland from the Dollar Tree, so I'm going to remove all of the white beads. I also have a package of beads that came from the spring section at Dollar Tree, and we're going to be removing the green beads from that package. I love to use these types of beads that are already painted. It saves you a step in the process, but if you have unfinished wood beads, you could use those as well or paint them to match for this project. So once I get all my beads out, I'm going to use this orange baker's twine that I got from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to string on a couple of beads, and then we're going to add a carrot, and then we're going to add a couple more beads. I'm just using a needle here because my carrots are styrofoam. I believe they came from Hobby Lobby, but you could definitely use the carrots from the Dollar Tree. If you want them to lay a little flatter than these end up laying, you could also use the wood carrots and just paint them or use napkins or paper to cover them up. So once I get my little garland all assembled, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to my egg. Now I attach it up here on the white section, but then I change my mind later in the video and I move it down to the green plank instead. We're going to make a bow here, a shabby bow, and I'm using some of the orange polka dot ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm also going to use some chevron ribbon from the Dollar Tree that is orange. This is wired ribbon, so normally I take a piece of the ribbon to tie in the middle of the bow. It just adds a little bit more character to the bow and looks like it's one cohesive piece. For this project, I chose not to do that, simply because the ribbon is wired and it would be kind of difficult to tie that off in the middle. So instead, we're going to use some twine in the middle of this bow to tie it off. You're going to want to tie it fairly tight just because, like I said, this is a wired ribbon and you don't want your bow to fall apart later. So all I do is wrap that around in the middle and tie it really tight. I do go back and take a piece of the chevron ribbon and cover up the middle so it looks like a cohesive bow. We're just going to cut off our strings and don't cut too low because again your bow will fall apart. You're going to add some hot glue to the back and glue it up at the top of our egg. Then I do go ahead here in a second and move my garland down to the middle. We're going to add some eucalyptus here at the bottom, and then that is it for this super sweet project. I love how the eucalyptus takes it to another high-end look. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause I'm growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head.
For this project, we're going to use 2 of the bunny Easter baskets that they have at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to add a hole here down at the bottom because we're going to be making a little topiary with these. Now I'm using a dowel that was left over from a wood project from the Crafter Square area. I don't really feel like it was long enough, so you're going to want a little bit longer dowel here. You can pick that up at Walmart or possibly Hobby Lobby. You can use this dowel and it works out just fine, but just so you know, I felt like it was a little smashed and could have used a little bit longer dowel. But once we get it through the pink basket, we're going to cut a hole in the blue basket and then we're going to add that one on top. I do go ahead and add hot glue here just around the dowel and the hole. These are canvas bags and so they aren't super sturdy, so you're going to want to not put anything really heavy in these. So I picked up this Easter grass at the Dollar Tree. You get 3 colors in this bag. It was totally worth $1.25. I don't know if you've ever bought Easter grass for Easter baskets, but it can be kind of pricey, especially if you have bigger baskets. A lot of grass came in this bag and it was the plastic like paper kind, and so I definitely think it's worth it. I'm going to go back and get this for my house Easter baskets this year. But I put the green in the bottom, yellow in the middle, purple in the top. I did not add anything else to these, but you could definitely put little bunnies or eggs. I love how this turned out. Let me know what you guys think about it.
I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand.
For this project, we're going to take one of the Dollar Tree signs and we're using the back of this one. You can pick these up every season. They have them out right now as well. I'm going to cover it with some sheepskin white folk art chalk paint. It doesn't necessarily need full coverage because we're going to cover the board, but we just don't want the brown part showing. Then we're going to take some grosgrain ribbon. I have pink, purple, and blue, and we're going to add some bows to our little greenery bunnies that came from the Dollar Tree Plus section. Now, as you can see, my middle bunny is missing some of his greenery. Be careful when you remove the raffia pieces around their necks because these did have some of the greenery removed when I took them off. So just make sure you have a plan for how you're going to cover that up if you so remove the raffia. I'm just going to add each bow to their neck, and then we're going to cover our board with some Spanish moss. I'm using one package from the Dollar Tree, and it does cover my entire board. So if you are only going to use this project, definitely pick those up from the Dollar Tree. I find that it is a little bit cheaper to get one of the larger bags from Hobby Lobby when they're on sale, because a little bit of this does go a long way. But if you don't use a lot of Spanish moss, definitely those Dollar Tree bags are worth it. You're going to want to make sure that you have like a lot of space here. It is really messy, so you're going to want to make sure you've cleaned up around you, that everything around you does not get Spanish moss on it. So then I'm going to place my bunnies in the Spanish moss, and then we're just going to hot glue them onto our sign. This is kind of simplistic, but I absolutely love how it turned out. It's adorable on my mantle. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
I just wish I could freeze this moment, babe.
A Dollar Tree bunny wreath form I got in the Dollar Tree Plus section. It was $5. As you can see, it has some chicken wire that goes behind it, and I wanted to show you that you could add your flowers into the chicken wire and hot glue them there. I decided to go ahead and insert my florals into the wicker wreath section. We're going to go ahead and go in a circular motion. The nice part about this is that we're not going to require any hot glue. So if we want to change the project or we want to change like our florals, we can take these out and add new ones, and we have a whole new project. So it took about 3 bundles to do the bottom and 2 bundles to do his head, and then once I get those all the way around the grapevine wreath, we're going to add a bow. I'm using some buffalo check ribbon here. I just tied it into a shoelace bow. I am going to add a tiny bit of hot glue here just because I tried to tie it on and I didn't like the way that it looked. But it would definitely be removable if I wanted it to be. Once I get the hot glue in there, I'm going to kind of rearrange the flowers around the bow, and that's it for this super easy project. I absolutely love this one. You guys let me know what you think about this one.
You can't turn the tide.
So if you didn't know this about me, I am a middle school science teacher and a track coach, and recently at our latest track meet, some of my girls found my YouTube channel, and then the next day when I got to school, it was everywhere that Miss Peel had a YouTube channel. I have several kids watching, subscribing, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. You made me feel like a rock star. Thank you for subscribing and watching. You made me feel very special. Now let's get back to the video.
So for this project, we're going to use this wooden wreath that I found at Joann's. It's absolutely adorable. We're going to do some painting here. I am going to use some Cashew Waverly chalk paint on my bunny. I am just about out of all my Waverly paints because my Walmart doesn't sell them anymore, and I have transitioned to folk art paint. So the rest of my paint is going to be from folk art, but I'm going to be using some pastels here. We're using blue, pink, and yellow, and I'll definitely list all the paint colors down in my description box. There was no rhyme or reason to how I decided to paint this. I just started with the blue and then would paint an egg and then a couple flowers, and then I moved on to the pink and I painted the egg and a couple flowers, and then the same transition with the yellow until I had covered all of the wooden parts. Then I'm going to take this buffalo check ribbon. It's a thinner ribbon. I want to say this came from Hobby Lobby, and I just went ahead and tied it into a shoelace bow. I think it adds so much cuteness to this bunny. I definitely love the bow edition. Now, you could stop here if you wanted to. I decided to go ahead and add some lavender around the outside of the wreath. There is like this grapevine piece that's attached. I'm going to go ahead and attach my lavender into the grapevine piece. Now, there isn't a whole lot of grapevine here, but I didn't have to use any hot glue to adhere my lavender onto the wreath, so it is removable if I decide to remove that. But that is it for this super sweet project. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
You can run and hide. You can bury yourself beneath the stone.
So for this project, we're going to take one of these wreath forms from the Dollar Tree. This was in the Dollar Tree Plus section for $5. However, it was on clearance, so I got it for $1.25. I'm going to remove the sea pieces like the seahorse and the starfish, and I'm going to leave the greenery there. I decided to leave the greenery because all I'm going to add to our greenery is some lavender. So there is a grapevine piece attached to this metal ring, kind of like our wooden piece from the last project. So we're going to go ahead and add lavender to that grapevine piece. I just decided to go ahead and go all the way around it using lavender that I got from Walmart. And then I'm going to put one other embellishment on here. So again, we're not using any hot glue, and we're just going to put them into the grapevine wreath, and that way we're able to reuse all the florals and the greenery that came on the wreath. So once I get all the lavender in there and I'm ready and happy with the way that it looks, I have this really cute birdhouse fabric. I've just had it in my stash. I made some bookmarks from it several years ago, and I thought this was super cute. So I took a embroidery hoop. I have several of these on hand. I got mine from Amazon. I'll have a link down in my description box if you want to check out the ones that I picked up, but we're just going to go ahead and put the hoop into our fabric. Then I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut around my circle of the hoop. I'm going to be just kind of cutting off any excess pieces around there. So we have this really cute embroidery hoop with some really cute birdhouse fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and glue our embroidery hoop into the middle of our wreath. And so this gives it kind of a fun element and a little bit different twist to something that we might add to a wreath instead of a sign or something like that. So I just kind of took out some of the greenery that was attached to that grapevine piece, and I'm using hot glue on both sides of my embroidery hoop to glue it to the grapevine piece, so that's done. Next, we're going to make a shabby bow, so I'm going to take some more of my buffalo check ribbon, and I'm just going to add some of this farmhouse ribbon that they sell at the Dollar Tree. It's definitely one of my favorites. I'm going to add about 4 pieces of each of the ribbon, and then I'm going to do the crisscross method. So this is one of my favorite and easy bows to make, so if you're a new crafter or you don't do really well with bows, these are really easy to make. You can make large ones, you can make small ones, and they always turn out cute. So I like to use a piece of the fabric to tie off the bow at the very end. That way it becomes part of the bow and it's not noticeable like when you use twine or something like that. I just cut a little bit longer piece. I tie it off here in the middle with a knot, and then I trim any of the excess pieces when I make the bow and fluff it out. Once I get our bow made, I'm going to go ahead and add it to our embroidery hoop at the top, and then that is it for this project. I really like the simplicity of this one. It's easy and fast, and definitely anybody could make it. So let me know what you think about this one.
Don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice.
So we're going to start out using this buffalo check ribbon, and I'm going to measure about 12 inches. I should have marked it on my mat because later in the video you're going to see I mark it with one of my clips, but I went ahead and measured out 12 inches, and I'm going to create 3 loops that are 12 inches in length, which end up being about 11 inches when you put them together as a bow. So this is a new bow technique that I'm trying out today, and I actually really loved it. I'm definitely going to go ahead and try to continue to use this. I started out using a pipe cleaner to hold them together, but then I felt like that was a little not sturdy enough, and so later I show you that I went ahead and used a zip tie. So definitely when you start to make this bow, just go ahead, skip the pipe cleaner, and go with the zip tie. So I make 4 loops for this first part of the bow, measuring out again, like I said, at 12 inches, and then I go ahead and make a tail on both sides that is also 12 inches. Then I'm going to use my clip to hold it together and clip off the end of the tail, and then I'm ready to make the next section of my bow. So for the next section of my bow, I'm going to do this very same thing, only now I'm going to measure it out at 11 inches. That's going to give us 10-inch loop sections, and we're going to get about 3 or 4 of these in this section, and then once we're done with that, we will cut off another 11-inch section where we will make that the tail. Once I had each section completed, I took a zip tie and zip tied it together to hold the section in place. When I was kind of experimenting with this bow technique, I started out with a pipe cleaner, but I felt like the pipe cleaner did not give it a secure hold, and as I was kind of playing around with it, a couple of my loops popped out, which is what kind of led me towards the zip ties instead, because you get such a better permanent hold with the zip tie. Then you're going to do another section here. These are going to be 10-inch strips, which are going to give us 9-inch loops. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I made 4 bundles on this one instead of 3. And then I'm going to secure them in place with a zip tie, sorry. Then I'm going to measure this one out at a 9-inch strip, and then it's going to give us an 8-inch loop, and I'm going to get 3 loops out of this one and then another tail and tie it off with another zip tie. So altogether I've used 4 zip ties here to create the bundles. Now we're ready to put the bow all together, so I took all 4 of the bundles and I laid them on top of each other, and I took another zip tie and I zip tied all 4 of the bundles together. So you can do this any way that you would like. You can use a pipe cleaner here. I just felt like the zip tie gave it more of a secure hold. I think this bow is absolutely beautiful. We are making a bicycle wreath today, so our bow is sitting to the side. However, this bow would work just fine for a deco mesh wreath or a grapevine wreath because it's so full, and you can add as many loops or as little of the loops as you want. You could have even kept going with the strips and made more of them into this bow. So I mean, the sky is the limit really for how full you want this bow to be, but I thought this was the perfect amount. 4 sets, 1 at 12, 1 at 11, 1 at 10, and 1 at 9. So now that we have the bow all secured together, I took a section of pool noodle that I had on hand. This was 6 inches long, and I cut it down the side and I'm attaching it to the bicycle wreath. This is just to help me with the florals that I'm going to put into the wreath so that they have something to hold on to. I'm going to glue the pool noodle back together so that it is secure onto the bicycle wreath. Once I have that glued onto the wreath, then I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to secure that into the middle of my pool noodle. That's just to give me kind of the center of what I'm working with here. So I took another zip tie and I zip tied the bow into the middle of our pool noodle. Super simple, and it doesn't take a lot of steps. I get a lot of questions or comments on my videos saying, I've never tried a wreath. Oh, I wish I knew how to do a wreath. And if you were ever going to start somewhere with a wreath, this is the perfect place to start. There are no extra steps here. There's not a lot of things to do in this wreath, and so this is the perfect place to start for your wreath. So we're going to lay our bow onto the middle of the pool noodle, and I'm going to take my zip tie and just lay it
underneath the pole noodle and then through the bicycle wreath, and I'm going to attach it onto the pole noodle part. That makes it really secure onto the wreath and the pool noodle, so when we start to add our florals, then we have a section underneath the bow and a section above the bow that we can add some florals to. Then again, we're going to dovetail the ends of our ribbons to give it a more high-end look and to make our projects look more store-bought rather than homemade. So I picked up 2 bundles of the lavender from Walmart. That is one of my most favorite things to decorate in the spring and summer. So I'm just going to attach 1 bundle down in the bottom of the wreath and a bundle up in the top of the wreath. I did go ahead and cut them apart to attach them better into the pole noodle part. That way I have more control. But if you want, you could even just attach the entire piece of your florals in there, depending on how long the bottom is. I felt like the lavender was too long to just kind of stick it in there. So that is another reason why I cut it apart. But I like cutting it apart because then I have more control over where to stick them and to fluff them out. But if you're afraid of doing that, afraid of cutting them too short, you can always start with just putting the whole bundle in there and fanning them out. So we're ready to use the flowers I picked up at the Dollar Tree. There's only 1 bundle here and there are 5 flowers on this bundle. I like to do odd numbers in my project, so that works for me. If you feel like that's not enough, you can always pick up another bundle. But again, we were going for about $10 for this project, and so that only allowed me to pick up 1 of the bundles. But I put 3 of the flowers down on the bottom, 2 flowers on the top, and I just stuck these right into the pool noodle. So there is no gluing here. If you feel like the flowers aren't in there attached really well, you could always put some glue like on the outside of where your flower stem meets the pool noodle, just to give it a little bit more stability. But there's not a lot of gluing entailed in this project, if at all. I just put a little bit on some of the lavender that didn't seem to be sticking into the pool noodle very well, but hardly any did I have to put in there. So once you're done, you're going to fluff out your bow a couple more times, and then that is it for this super simple but elegant bicycle wreath.
Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across the field. Take a breath.
For this project, we're going to use one of the beaded wreath forms that they have at Hobby Lobby. They have 3 different sizes. I am using the smaller of the 3 sizes for this project. I took some buffalo check ribbon, tied it in an awareness bow, and I used some twine to cinch the middle. I left my twine long so I could use it to also tie the ribbon onto our middle ring that the beads are on. I'm going to take this birdhouse that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I used some folk art chalk paint and covered it in various colors around the birdhouse. I'm now using some white chalk paint to dry brush around. It's very subtle. These are lighter colors of paint, so it won't show up quite as dark. You could use a darker color or antique wax here if you wanted to. I got these rub-ons also at the Dollar Tree. We're going to go ahead and place them first on the roof, and then I take a couple other little pieces and just go randomly around the birdhouse. They don't totally come off when I am rubbing them. I think that my paint was still a tiny bit wet, but that's okay because it gives it a distressed look. So then I kind of went with that around the rest of the birdhouse. I glued a flower here into the middle of our bow, also came from the Dollar Tree, and then I go to dovetail my ribbon, and my scissors are not sharp enough, so this is a hot mess over here on the right-hand side. I cut it 3 times. Finally, I do get a good dovetail, so I think I probably am in need of some new scissors, or definitely sharpening the scissors that I am currently using. But I go ahead and shorten the bow so they are even. I tied some twine to the back of our birdhouse, and I'm going to attach it to our beaded wreath form. So this does not really work out because it's a little floppy. It kind of moves around and falls down. So I do end up adding a little bit of hot glue to some of those beads that are at the back of the birdhouse. I'm then going to add some greenery to the back of the birdhouse, and I'm also going to add some greenery up at the top where the flower is. I think this adds a really neat feature here. It just gives it a little bit more something, I guess, to the wreath. But that is it for this sweet project. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend.
We're going to use this watering can Garland. I got this at the Dollar Tree. They have this whole cute section of gardening, crafting supplies like wood items and things like that. It's super adorable. I'm going to use a couple of the things from that same section in today's video. But first we're just going to take these watering cans off of the twine garland. I just cut it and then I removed all of the wood pieces. I usually put the twine and the beads and stuff like that into a plastic bag, and then I use them for other projects, especially if I just need like one or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and add some Mod Podge onto our watering cans. We're going to do this for all 6 watering cans. I'm just going to show you one of the watering cans. So we're going to add Mod Podge over the entire thing, and then we're going to lay our napkin on top of our wood piece. Now, if you don't like that you can kind of see the wood piece through the napkin, you can also paint these white ahead of time, or another color if you want to do that. That way you don't get the wood look. I was okay with the wood look, so I did not paint mine, but if you don't like that look, definitely paint underneath first. It also depends on the napkin. You want to remove like the 2-ply part of the napkin, so it does end up being a lot thinner, and but if you use like heavier duty napkins or really more expensive napkins, sometimes they will not show through to your piece of wood. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim around here. I also just kind of trim out the middle of our watering can. We're then going to go back and clean it up with some sandpaper. I used sandpaper at first and then I switched to my sanding block. You're going to need something small to get into the small pieces. I thought I had an emery board, but I could not find it. But those are definitely a really good source to get into like little tiny spaces. And you can pick those up at the Dollar Tree. So we're going to go ahead and do all 6 of our watering cans, and we're going to sand all the way around. We're going to apply them here to this burlap garland that I also got at the Dollar Tree. They have a couple different versions. I like this banner style, but they also have a pennant style. But mine were not like in the Crafter's Square area. They were like on an end cap. So if you're going to Dollar Tree to look for these, if you can't find them in Crafter Square, kind of look around, because like I said, mine was not in that area. So there are 6 pieces to this banner, and we have 6 watering cans. And if you haven't figured it out yet, we're going to spell the word spring. I've been using these like letter stickers for quite a while. I got them at Hobby Lobby. If you can get them at 40% off, they're a pretty good deal and they last a really long time. I like to pick my letter stickers up over there because you get so many more than you do at the Dollar Tree, and it ends up being a better deal. So we're going to just spell out the word spring, and then we're going to go ahead and add one more detail to this little banner. And I saw this on DIY Beauty on Purpose. Leonette, my good friend, had made the cutest little banner. I believe it was the same banner, if I'm not mistaken, but she added some flowers in between, and I thought that was so adorable. And I had these flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I thought they kind of matched our butterflies. I will link her video down in my description box as well, so you can check out her banner. But that is it for this sweet project. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to take an old Dollar Tree bunny sign. I'm just going to remove the carrots because I'm not going to use them in this project and save them for a later day. We're just going to use the bunny head. Now, you can see in the right-hand corner, I had this plaid pink and white napkin, and that's where I originally started with this project. I don't put all of that footage in here, but when I put the napkin onto my bunny, there was some weird discoloration when it dried, so I don't know if I had too much glue or I'm not really sure what happened, but I went ahead and sanded that off and kind of started over. So you're going to see like some weird stuff glued to the back of the bunny. That's what happened. But just to give you like the idea of how I get my napkin onto the project, I removed any of the pieces from our bunny, and then we're just going to paint on our Mod Podge. Now I like to use old paint brushes for my Mod Podge because I am not a fan of foam brushes, but definitely if you're a foam brush user, you can do that and it goes on just as well, or probably even better, to be honest. My paintbrush was kind of small, so it took me a little bit of extra time to get all my Mod Podge on. I like to go in sections, that way I'm not rushing to get my napkin on, because sometimes it can be a little bit difficult using the napkins, especially if they're maybe not higher quality napkins. But all we're going to do is take our napkin and our brayer. This is my favorite way to attach napkins. I got this idea from Leah Knepp at DIY Beauty on Purpose, and I had tried it out in another video, and it was amazing. So I'll link her video and my video down in the description box if you want to check that one out after this. But we're just going to use some saran wrap in our brayer, and we're going to go over the whole project. It makes sure that you don't have any wrinkles, and that's what I love the most about it. But once it's dry and it's all stuck on there, we're going to go ahead and take our scissors, trim around because we don't need all that excess napkin, and then we're going to use our sanding block again. Now, if you don't have a sanding block, that is okay. You can use just regular sandpaper, or you could use a file. I definitely think a file works great if you have small spaces. I get my sanding block at the Dollar Tree. It's one of my favorite things that they have there, but they also sell sandpaper if you can't find the sanding block. As you're sanding your napkin, you want to go in a downward motion. If you start to go in an upward motion, you could tear your napkin, and you don't want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get off any of the excess pieces around the whole project. Now I have this little wood piece that I got from Hobby Lobby. We're just going to attach our bunny to it, and that is pretty much it. We're going to add one more bow to our bunny. This was super easy, and I really loved how this one turned out. I love these napkins. They also came from the Dollar Tree. They're really cute and very springy, but all we're going to do is add that cute burlap bow in the middle of his ears, and then that is it. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months.
So in my last napkin video, I had a lot of people telling me to try the burning method, and people have told me that before, and I always shy away from it because I'm afraid of the burning part, but I'm going to do it today. I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion when I am done like going through this project. But we're going to go ahead and use our same kind of method. We're going to paint on our Mod Podge and lay our napkin down. I'm just going in little pieces here. I'm only doing the top here because we're going to do something different with those little cutout pieces at the bottom of the sign. This came from the Dollar Tree. I kept seeing it at the store and I kept thinking, what do you do with these? So I'm going to show you guys what I made out of it. I'm curious if you've used this sign and what did you make out of it? Let me know down in the comments. But we're going to just go ahead and add this onto our napkin. I make sure it's dry before I decide to do the burning method, and I'm going to cut off any of the excess napkin. Now you can save this for a later date. I will say that sometimes it's hard to tell that you have the 2-ply, but make sure you take the 2-ply off. So here I am outside because I did not want to do this inside my house in case I had a disaster. So you use your own judgment if you feel like you want to do this in your craft room or wherever you are. I did not have much luck with this. So you guys can let me know down in the comments what I'm doing wrong, or maybe I'm just that afraid of it that it just really didn't turn out for me. But my flame kept going out, so I had to keep trying to light it. Now I live in an extremely windy area, and it was a tad bit windy outside for this day, so I kept trying to kind of turn so that I was not like facing the wind, but I don't know, that could have been part of my problem, but I kept trying to burn more and more of it off, and it was not all that successful. If you can tell, up at the top, my bunny ears are kind of burnt, and down towards the bottom, there's like some burning towards it. So I didn't love how the like burning technique turned out. I mean, the napkin looks adorable on the Easter sign, and I mean, it was maybe the easier way to get like the little spaces out, but I don't love it. You guys let me know what you think. So for the remainder of our project, we're going to take these flowers that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I just cut off all the stem parts, and then I'm going to glue them in the back of the project. So I stick them through the holes, and then I go ahead and add some hot glue so that it's attached to the actual wood piece. My flowers end up being a tiny bit too big because when I attach them to the rest of the project, you can't see the Easter part. So I just use these little zip ties, or no, not zip ties, but like sandwich ties, I don't know what you would call them, but they were already on the wreath, and I just attach it to the wreath, and then here it is for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one.
All the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday, and the pain that you're feeling gradually.
I wanted to give the burning method one more try, so we're going to do that here for this project. I'm not sure where this napkin came from. I got it in a collab, but I want to say it came from the Dollar Tree. There was like a green one that was similar, and then this blue one. But we're going to cut a section of this napkin to fit our sign. Now this sign came from the garden section of Dollar Tree, kind of like the Garland from earlier, and we're just going to apply our napkin. Again, this napkin is super thin after the 2-ply comes off, so if you don't like the wood showing, you can definitely paint it so that it's not as noticeable. But we're going to paint on our Mod Podge and go in sections here just like we have done before. I think this sign is so adorable. It has these cute little boots, and then it has like a garden stake and a little plant. It'd be adorable painted as well. We're just going to go in our sections, laying our paint down, and then before I go outside this time, I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut in between like where the C and the O are, and then I kind of cut like down where the M is and the W, just so that the flame doesn't have to do quite as much work. I feel like if I'm going to burn it, it's going to go in 2 directions instead of 1. I don't know if that really made a difference or not. The really difficult part was to get between the boots because it's a pretty small line between there, and I felt like I kind of torched that a little bit too much. But I did go ahead and go outside again, use my trusty flame from the Dollar Tree. Now, this one also had several burn areas, and then I burnt it on the back because I was trying to get that middle piece. I then had to go back with some sandpaper and get all the in-between places. So again, this is not the method for me, but you guys can let me know down in the comments what I'm doing wrong or why you love it so much, but this just did not work out for me. So I went ahead and glued it onto the sign after I painted it with some navy folk art chalk paint, and the sign came from Hobby Lobby. This was just left over from a different project, but you can get these in the unfinished wood area. I'm going to add some greenery I had left over with my burlap bow, and I really like how this turned out. The burn marks kind of gave it a vintage feel, but if it wasn't like something that I wanted to have burnt, I would have been really disappointed. But again, I do love how it turned out. The blue looks really nice in the sign, and I just really loved the welcome sign in general. It is adorable. Let me know what you guys think about this project.
Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama said. I wish I could freeze this moment.
Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you want to keep on crafting with me, check out this video next. And as always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.